Hello everyone, if you're new to my channel, consider liking and subscribing. It will make me feel wonderful if you do that. Thanks. By the way, I also have another Naruto and Luffy fanfiction channel. If you are interested, link is in the description.
Never Again by Katakurii. Luffy loses his nakama and gets another chance. He gets sent back in time and gives his powers and knowledge to his younger self. Will he be able to save his nakama? I don't own anything. Adios.
Chapter 18. Arrival at Skypia. The clouds turned from black to white after a certain height was reached when the Straw Hats on Mary were ascending up the massive stream of seawater. And after the small group of pirates finished their ride up into the sky, the small vessel was catapulted into a sea of clouds, water from the blue sea raining on them. "Damn, is everyone okay?" a soaking wet Zoro asked his equally wet nakama, breathing heavily. Luffy was the first one to stand up and answer. "Yeah, nobody here looks hurt." The 17-year-old raised his head, looking around for some seconds. "Look outside the ship everyone," he exclaimed in joy. "We made it, guys, we made it to Sky Island." His mouth wide open, Sanji looked at the scenery in amazement. "It's pure white, a miracle?" "Clouds? We're in the clouds," Chopper shouted, excited more than ever. In only about 4 weeks, the reindeer had seen more than in his 15 years of life on Drum Island. The sea surely was a mysterious place, and the Straw Hat Pirates most definitely a strange group dragging him into crazy adventures and mysterious places. Nami was surprised and amazed, but something didn't seem right to her, despite the 18-year-old being a navigator. "How are we standing on these clouds?" "Oh no, Usopp's not breathing." A dramatic scream from the youngest Straw Hat disrupted her thoughts. "CPR, CPR." "Okay, I'll give Nami-san CPR," the pervert raved, wild in his imaginations. "Moron," the cook's counterpart remarked, barely hearable for all others. Meanwhile, after a successful heart massage, Usopp woke up panting. "Clouds, what?" The sniper shot up from his position on the floor, eyes bulged out and his tongue moving in a flowing manner. "Yes, these are clouds, and there are so many, just what is this?" "Basically, an ocean in the sky?" the ginger let out, fascinated about her world's crazy environment and physics. An ocean, the sharpshooter shortly thought about it and suddenly had an idea about being a brave warrior of the sea. "Look at me guys, I'm gonna swim in this white sea." Taking off his overall, the lanky, skinny marksman prepared to take a dive, but a stretchy hand stopped him from doing so. "I wouldn't do that, Usopp. We're above the clouds, and clouds have no solid bottom. You'd just fall down to the blue sea and die if you jumped off Mary's railing." That said, the unusually brave boy's expression got negative, his head pointing down and a dark blue aura surrounding it. Sky Islands are scary. On the railing, the reindeer-human hybrid looked around with some binoculars. It wasn't long until he spotted a ship from the blue sea. "A ship? Hey guys, a ship? And a person?" Said person was seen by the zone user demolishing that ship with his bazooka. The brown furred reacted scared and panicked. "Ah, the ship." "Huh, what's wrong, Chopper?" the blonde asked, worried. "What's with that ship?" "The ship was there, but it's gone now. A bull shot it down with its bazooka and is coming towards our ship now." "Calm down, Chopper, you don't make any sense," the swordsman snapped. "Ridiculous, a bull with a bazooka." Suddenly, the leg fighter noticed a strange person on weird skater-like shoes swiftly riding towards Mary, on the clouds. The mysterious individual was quite dark-skinned, wore colorful tribal clothing and small white wings, carried a shield, a tribal mask with bull-like horns covering the man's eyes, and a large but slim bazooka. "It's a person, someone's coming." Now the green-haired looked at the armed gorilla too, and he realized he was just proven wrong. With a jump, the ferocious man lunged at the pirate ship, its passengers aware of his presence. "Hey, stop, what do you want?" the fighting cook demanded loudly. "To eliminate you." After such a clear answer, the ex-prince and ex-bounty hunter standing at the front side of Mary got in their fighting stances, their faces turning dark. "Looks like he wants to fight. Fine by me." The former royal Sanji raised his leg against the wild Shandian's shield, greatly slowing him down. Nevertheless, the sheer force of the tribal warrior knocked the Vinsmoke down. This defensive move wasn't futile though. Thanks to the cook slowing the man down, Zoro was able to push the intruder back with his swords. "Wiper, I almost forgot how much of a savage and threat you were. Even if you're Enel's enemy too. I can't tolerate attacks on my nakama." Then the Straw Hat pulled back his arm to completely drive the tattooed Shandian savage off his ship. Gomu Gomu no Gatling. A broken shield and some minor bruises later, the bitter man pointed his rocket-launching weapon at the Straw Hats from the distance he's been sent to by the captain. "Yeah, you foreigners from the Blue Sea, die by Shandia's wrath, just like the priests and Skypians later." That is far enough. Wiper knew whose voice that was, one of his biggest enemies. In a rapid speed, an armored man with a lance standing on a big bird came flying towards the gorilla sent his fellow male flying, far away. The next thing he did was landing on Mary's railing. "What? "Who is this now?" a certain orange-haired exclaimed, fearing another attack. But the knight-like man, now after a better look seen as an old man, wasn't interested in attacking the vessel or its owners. Instead, the bearded man introduced himself in a very polite and friendly manner. "I am the Sky Knight." After the atmosphere around the Straw Hats cooled down, everyone was more open for a peaceful conversation. "The Sky Knight?" "Yes, the Sky Knight. You can also call me Gonfall," Gonfall answered. "Thank you for saving us," the Blue-Nosed said, panting. "Anyways, who was that guy speeding on the clouds, and why was he doing that in the first place?" That, Tanuki, was an armed gorilla. They are not uncommon here in the White Sea, and most Blue Sea people, you excluded, have almost no chance in defeating them. The old man exclaimed with his wise face. "I am a freelance soldier to hire, and can assist you if you ever need help." He threw a light silver whistle into the hands of Nami after fiddling in his pocket. "A blow into this whistle summons me at your service. Normally, each use would cost 5.000.000 XTOL, but only for this time, I'm giving it to you for free, and you can use it limitless." Sanji and Zoro tilted their heads. "What do you mean, XTOL?" The elderly knight frowned, his eyes wider open than usual. "You surely must have heard of XTOL, right? You came here via the summit of High West, did you not? Then you must have passed an island or two." Upon hearing this, the surprised 18-year-old Ginger shot up from her position. "Wait, there are other ways of coming to this Sky Ocean? And there are multiple Sky Islands?" Skypia's former god's eyes opened up even wider, now knowing the Straw Hat Pirates' route to Sky Island. "Don't tell me you came here via the—" "We rode the knock-up stream," Robin interrupted the knight-like man. "That monstrous current? So there are still people gutsy enough for that?" That was a big shock for the orange-haired, who abruptly teared up after hearing that. It wasn't a normal route after all. She furiously grabbed her captain by her collar and began wildly shaking him. "We could have died, you know. We could have done it more safely if we had gathered more information." Ignoring all this drama, Gonfall continued. "Did you lose any of your crew?" he inquired. "No, we're all here," Luffy answered, not being shaken anymore. That wouldn't have been the case with any other route. The white-haired told. 100 people head into the sky, a few arrive, and someone survives. That is the gamble. But with the knock-up stream, everyone dies or everyone arrives. That's it. Not many can make that all-or-nothing bet, especially these days. I now see that you are capable navigators with courage and skill." Freeing himself from his navigator's grasp, the black-haired proceeded to complain at her. "See, Nami? Don't always be so negative, instead ed us a safe trip through the knock-up stream." Nami blinked 2 times and calmed down afterwards, smiling and sighing. "You know what, Luffy, you're right. I should be proud of achieving dangerous things." All of a sudden, her expression changed like a storm. "But don't agree on things that are too reckless, there's always a limit." Garp's grandson smirked at her in a mocking way. "And what's the limit? Challenging a Revolutionary Army top officer, a Yonko commander, an admiral, a Yonko, 3 admirals, 4 Yonko, all top officers and my dad, or all of their groups, crews and armies combined." The sassy money lover wasn't any good in taking offensive jokes towards her and provocations, so she angrily slapped the 160 million berry man across his face at least 10 times. "And raw top officer alone is too far, idiot." Ha! If only she knew, while thinking that, Dragon's son bore a lewd smile on his face. "Anyways," the Skypian continued, pointing his hand at his pet. "This is Pierre, my partner. He is a sky-dot bird which ate the Uma Uma no Mi and gained horsepowers. Look at them." Slowly, Pierre transformed into his hybrid form resembling a Pegasus. The Straw Hats were in awe while watching the transformation, but soon gravely disappointed, since the twin beast didn't look elegant at all, contrary to a real Pegasus. "How unexciting. May luck be with you, warriors," the honorable knight called, while riding away on his not-so-beautiful flying horse. "That was a weird thing it turned into," Usopp remarked, sweat-dropping. "Was there even a reason for it to transform?" "Good question. In the end, we haven't learned much," the 60 million berry man observed, interrupting this part of their conversation, a serious look on his face. "What are we going to do now?" First looking at his first mate, then his navigator, the tall boy wearing his captain's coat made a suggestion. "I think we should follow the log pose. What do you say, Nami?" Sweating and blinking again, the ginger gulped and tried to explain their difficult situation. "I'd say so too, but the needle is pointing upwards, and in that direction where the log pose is pointing to, there's a strange waterfall." The future pirate king loudly mused, turning his head towards the waterfall. "It's decided, we're going to get a closer look. Set sail." Without any complaints, the group of 7 followed their captain's orders and set sail. After passing some bouncy clouds, the Straw Hats arrived at a white and golden kind of star-shaped gate with a red sign reading, Heaven's Gate. The building itself was an impressive thing to look at, the sign not so much, as the liar found out after recognizing a deeper meaning behind those words. Heaven's Gate, That's unlucky. It sounds like we're on our way to die. Hey, perhaps we're already dead. The Shimotsuki villager joked, intending to inflict fear on the black-haired coward. His plan, however, went down the drain as the wrong coward got scared and he himself was whacked on the head by a certain orange-haired after that bad joke. Ow, what was that for? Your jokes aren't funny. As the Straw Hats sailed closer to the gate, they noted a short, wrinkled old lady with small wings taking photos of them with a camera. I am Amazon, the Heaven's Gate Inspector. Sightseeing, or perhaps war? Nami was puzzled upon hearing that question. I guess it's kind of like sightseeing, she answered, sweat dropping. We want to go to Skypia. The 17-year-old informed. It's past this gate, right? And what do you mean by war? The first mate questioned, having his brow raised. The old woman at the gate didn't reply for some seconds, until a dry reply came out of her dry throat. It doesn't matter either way. If you're going to the upper area, pay the entrance fee of 1 billion extol per person. That is the law. Sanji let out an annoyed sigh. There's this extol stuff again. Whatever it is, 1 billion sounds really expensive, Chopper remarked. 1 billion for one person, 7 billion for 7 people, Robin observed, having no idea on how to pay such an amount. She realized the rubber man was looking at her, so she turned her eyes towards him as well. I'm quoting that old lady, it doesn't matter either way. We don't have a single extol on our ship, so he can't enter legally through this gate. And that is exactly the problem. The Kokoyashi villager snapped at the pirate captain with sharp teeth. You can pass. Amazon said, confusing most Straw Hats. Or you cannot pass. I am neither a gatekeeper, nor a guard. I simply ask for your intentions. Upon hearing that, the Straw Hat laughed out loudly. Ha 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 ha. Then let's go right now. Ha 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 ha. What are we waiting for? Out of nowhere, 2 large crab scissors grabbed Mary's wings, scaring everyone except Luffy. What the hell is this? The White Sea's famous Express Lobster. Before the Express Lobster carried the small pirate ship to Sky Island's Angel Beach, the 160 million berryman turned to his long-nosed sniper. Usopp, before we go, could you shoot that old lady's camera and destroy it? We're entering illegally. And eliminating proof would spare us from unnecessary trouble, don't you think so too? The darker-skinned sharpshooter frowned. I always knew there was something wrong with all this, and now that you say it, Namari Boshi. A ball of lead fired from the slingshot Ginga Pachinko first cracked the dial camera, then burst it into thousands of pieces. The wrinkled woman's outer expression didn't change. Oh, my camera. And then the giant lobster started moving. Rapidly, the reddish invertebrate traveled up the waterfall, almost as fast as the knock upstream. It's moving, it's going up the waterfall, what great speed. Hold on tight. There was a difference between the ride up the knock upstream and this waterfall. While the first route was only straightforward, countless curves and whirly roads surprised the adventuring pirates. Nonetheless, similarities existed. Both rides made the cowardly trio scream, and the cloud color in both rides turned from black and dark gray to white towards the end. That's the exit, the doctor shouted in awe, staring at the bright light from above in amazement. Oh wait, there's a sign with something written on it. Just as the reindeer said, there was in fact a sign. A red and rectangular one with golden letters. Godland Skypia. The archaeologist read out loud. God's land? More like Enel's stolen land, Garp's grandson thought. It's getting closer and closer, the fighting cook exclaimed, making an excited face like the rest of his nakama. They all knew, what happened before was just the beginning, the real adventure would begin in a few seconds. With a godly splash, the Straw Hats landed on the White Sea after exiting that stream. Immediately after landing, they eyed a majestic island of clouds that looked like a part of heaven. It's a sky island. All of the Straw Hat crew's faces changed into either excitement or awe, with the O'Haran's face being the most neutral. Hey, that sign read Skypia, didn't it? This made the navigator put up a conclusion. The galleon that fell on us really did come here, which means they saw this scenery 200 years ago. Completely ignoring the ginger's conclusion, Luffy jumped down very close to the coast, Usopp falling down behind him. Your feet can touch the bottom. It's like a beach here. As soon as both 17-year-olds got to the shore, the small reindeer-human hybrid ran after them in excitement, shouting out how cool this fluffy island was. Luffy, what about the anchor? The last man on the ship called out. Put it down, I don't care. Silently, the swordsman complied and put down the comparably small anchor, not caring much about the fun his nakama were having at the moment. He'd be joining them soon anyway, and all of this was too funny for his taste anyway. Right now, in a shrine located on Upper Yard, Enel summoned his priests and the priests arrived, each noted the kanji for God, kami, on the roof. Gedatsu, who constantly bit his lower lip and couldn't release a sound other than mhh, tried to cross his arms but failed due to his stupidity and incompetence. Satori jumped around like the ball he was, laughing out his terribly annoying laugh. Ohm eyed those two behind his sunglasses for a while, before looking forward again. TCH. He spat out in annoyance. These damn idiots are annoying as hell. I agree with you on that, Shira said, minding his own business. And there, like a flash, God Enel appeared on his throne-like seat, impressing his priests once more with his speed. Yahahaha. When his god sat down, the bald priest stepped forward and kneed down with his right leg, the other law enforcers of Upper Yard following. Enel-sama, why did you call us in? Enel bit in his apple and gulped down a good chunk of it before answering. Yahahaha, 7 blue sea dwellers have entered Skypia. I do not know who they are, but they are strong. 4 of them have mantra, and one of them even has 2 other types of mantra I don't know about. Skypia's current god ate the rest of his fruit. My point is, he said, throwing the leftover away, you are weak. You need to train more. The pilot-like priest couldn't believe his ears. But Enel-sama, Shira loudly complained. Those blue sea dwellers can't be this strong. Confused by his subordinate's exclamation, the former beer con gave him a weird look. Don't underestimate your opponents, Shira. He scolded absent-mindedly. Gonfall is still alive despite being such an old man. I believe we will soon have to fight the blue sea people who'll be getting in our way sooner or later. God, see that those humans are a threat. Should we let the white berets deal with them? The odd-haired and dark-skinned priest suggested. Yahaha. The lightning man's expression turned serious after his unique laugh. No, leave them be for now. We will eventually battle them when the time comes. You can leave now. Understood. With that, the Logia's followers turned around and returned to their ordeals on Upper Yard, preparing for the inevitable battle. Time had passed, and the Straw Hats minus Nami who went on a tour were enjoying lunch made by Sanji and their new friend Konus's house. They'd met her on Angel Beach, her father Pagaya shortly after, who almost crashed his waver into them. Is everyone alright? You're the one WHO crashed? While the former royal prepared delicious seafood from the White Sea, Pagaya offered the 18-year-old Ginger to repair the waver they had found back in the Blue Sea on the St. Brice, and Konus introduced various dials to the pirates. Outside the window, Luffy and his friends heard the orange-haired shout, "Guys, I found a new island." Her nakama sped down to her after finishing lunch. Nami, I was just about to say I wanted to go there, the pirate captain joyfully declared. Just then, the 2 Skypians came towards them from the stairs leading to their house. You want to go to Upper Yard? The angel-like girl asked, worried. Is there something wrong about it? Well, she began. Upper Yard is home to Skypia's god and his soldiers, Enel. He doesn't like intruders. Also, the Shandians see Upper Yard as their home, and they'll attack foreigners as well as God's priests. It's not the safest place around. The cowardly trio felt shivers going down their spines and sweat down their faces. Luffy, you shish. No, the boy with his red captain's coat firmly interrupted, bearing a determined look on his face. I won't take any objections. When it comes to adventure, it's me who decides. Pagaya took out a bag from his map and showed it to his guests. This is a map of Upper Yard. It's about 200 years old, but it'll still do. That is the sacrificial altar, that is the giant jack, and that is Shandora. Nodding, the intelligent navigator reached out for the map, only for it to be snatched up by her black-haired captain. Luffy, what was that for? I'm the person who handles maps, the money lover yelled. Silently, the king's hockey user shook his head and turned around. Sorry about that. I will return it soon. Just wait for us while Usopp and I check up on Sanji who's preparing bento for our upcoming adventure. You can wait on Mary with Zoro, Robin and Chopper. Without a word, the Kokoyashi villager returned to her favorite ship along with the green-haired, raven-haired and brown-furred. This Upper Yard area sounds exciting. Can't wait for the battles we'll fight, Zoro said to Robin. Foo, I think you'd win against most opponents there. I like seeing you fight. Will that moss-brained idiot not stop talking about fighting? We're about to enter God's home out of all places, Nami thought, scared about her well-being. A god must be very strong, and what if he's in a bad mood? It was the second time the 3 staying behind heard a certain girl shout from outside the window, and this time a shout out of fear and helplessness. 2 of them couldn't believe their eyes. What's this? A giant red crab is pulling our Mary away, Usopp almost screamed. No, Nami Swan. Robin Schwan. Crap, I knew this was going to happen, but I did nothing. Of course they'll be able to hold their own, but what if they run into Enel or priests other than Ball Guy early? Guess I'm too overprotective, but something needs to be done. Konus, can you help us get a boat to save our friends? The Straw Hat asked in a serious tone, eyes shadowed. Upon hearing that request, the blonde girl's knees almost trembled. Why yes, follow me, I'll lead you to the docks. Treachery was evident in her voice, but the rubber man couldn't simply be angry with her. It wasn't the innocent girl's fault to begin with. Enel, your days as God are numbered. Chapter 19, First Priest down. 15 minutes earlier. And to get to your friends, you need to go to the sacrificial altar via the Milky Roads. The bald and bearded Skypian Pagaya told his 3 remaining guests outside his house. So, Sanji spoke, taking a drag out of his cigarette then exhaling. You're telling us to get a boat. Go to this altar via some half-solid cloud-like roads that are placed all over Upper Yard, but also that there are countless traps and a good number of enemies, am I right? Pagaya sweated on how exact the blonde summed up his instructions. Why yes, may luck be with you. Before his daughter left with the Blue Sea Dwellers, he shot her a glance saying, do it, Konus. No matter what, God will spare us if you do it. And don't let them know at all. This, however, didn't stay unnoticed by the wingless pirates. Present timeline. The way to Angel Island's docks was quiet and suspicious. Every Skypian set their gaze on the three without saying anything. Konus, who was accompanying them, acted equally suspicious, sweating constantly and rarely speaking. And when she did speak, she stuttered multiple times. Finally, their time of departure came when they reached the end of the docks. A small black gondola with a crow as figurehead. There it is, your crow boat. It's not as fast as a waver, but it'll define. It has 2 breath dials on it. A few moments later, after some more steps without a word, the angel-like girl pointed at a red and green gate. This is gate number 2. It will lead you to the giant milky road which connects to Upper Yard. She explained, her face missing a smile. Why, you simply need to take that. Luffy finally had enough of this facade. He knew his friend wasn't happy being used like that, so he did what he had to do from the beginning, questioning her. Oi, Konus. Why yes? Why have you been shaking ever since we left your home? And in a split second, dozens of pairs of eyes struck the group of 4. Suddenly, panic appeared on the Skypian's face. Does it seem that way? Yeah, it's like you're afraid of something. More and more sweat drops built up on the winged girl's face. Oh, a love-struck cook raved. Konus-chan, you're worried about us, that's so touching. Usopp also started questioning about what he wanted to know, but still, are you guys going to be alright? He asked, sounding aware of something. Everyone in this town is plainly avoiding us, yet you're lending us a boat and even giving us directions. Doesn't that make you our accomplices? Seemingly, that wasn't enough for the black-haired, however. Say, you're also looking pale ever since we left your house. The 17-year-old pointed out, stepping another step forward. You should have told us if something was wrong, we would have come on our own too. Now Konus was breathing heavily. No, she said, looking down with her teal eyes. It's not what you think. People staring from afar didn't add much to the quiet confrontation except sharp and stinging gazes. No, she wouldn't. It's strange, isn't it? The blonde finally started speaking plainly about what's really happening, looking completely unhappy about herself. Explaining the route to your ordeal, guiding you here myself. It's like I want you to lead you there, despite saying how terrifying it is. It was that moment when all the people started backing away from them. The fighting cook, who got back to his normal state of mind again, knew, just like his 2 nakama beside him, that there was clearly something really wrong with all this. Don't tell me they're all. Konus then abruptly fell on her knees and was on the verge of crying, trying to hold back her tears. Could you run away? In the end, she couldn't hold back her tears, and the intense revelation started. I'm sorry. I was the one who called the Super Express lobster. Stop, what are you saying? Skypia's citizens were also crying, having great fear of an intense attack of their god responding to the young girl's betrayal. The thing that took Nami-san and the others? You called it? The Vinsmoke exclaimed, sounding more surprised than angry, despite everything happening. Yes, I did, and I feel so guilty. Once we know someone's a criminal, as even wanting to go to Upper Yard is a crime, we'll be killed if we don't lead them to the place of judgment, the blonde tearfully revealed, much to the other Skypian's shock. Stop it. Do you realize what you're saying? You're blaspheming against God? Stop her. Without paying attention to the people other than the straw hats around her, Konus's tears continued flowing from her teal-colored eyes. This is our citizens' duty. I'm sorry, it's all so strange, isn't it? She expected them to be angry and furious at her for her betrayal, and to an extent they were. Don't be stupid, the 160 million berry man shouted at her. You didn't have any choice, right? Konus nodded. All of the 3 young men's faces were dark and shadowed. Then, why are you telling us? Dragon's son immediately ran up to her, sensing a lightning attack from far away. Your life is in danger. Meanwhile, other Skypians were further distancing themselves from the 4. It's all over, we're too late, stay away from the girl, the judgment is coming. And then, finally, it started. The sky above them turned extremely bright blue, shadows appearing everywhere around. Usopp and Sanji needed to put their hands in front of their eyes to not become blind. About 6 seconds later, a blue pillar of lightning came down at the boy and girl. Garp's grandson instinctively did what he needed to do to save his newly made friend from her ruthless god. The future pirate king grabbed her and tightly hugged her below him, shielding her whole body from the blast of pure lightning. During the judgment, while the Skypian was scared for her life, the rubber man was completely unfazed. It's so good to have rubber powers, thank you Shanks. After the pillar of lightning disappeared, smoke covered the whole area. Neither the liar nor the pervert knew what happened or what to do. Luffy, Konus-chan. Where did they go? It's no use, the almighty God Enel sees all. Ex-Prince Sanji finally grew annoyed with those cowardly, selfish Skypians. Everyone, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear anything from you anymore. When the smoke cleared, they got their answer. The Straw Hat was standing there, on a black bottom, still effectively protecting the angel-like girl from anything through a hug. The Sky Knight had also appeared beside them, surprising everyone around. They're both fine. It's Gonfall San. Oh, that weird old man. Although Gonfall didn't seem happy with that name, he let this one slide. Weird? No, I'm the Sky Knight. The old man then turned to a certain tall boy who was still doing what his blonde nakama would want to do all day. Give the girl to me. I will not allow Enel to harm her. Okay, since Gonfall was a good man, Luffy had no problems with entrusting him his friend. You now know this land's true nature as well as God's power. The old man spoke. What will you do now? Putting his hat correctly back on, the pirate captain replied in a way the Sky Knight liked. This land is none of our business. Our friends are just on God's island. I see. May luck be with you. With that, he flew off on his Pegasus lacking any sign of elegance, letting the Straw Hats mind their own business on Upper Yard. Yosh, I think you both know where we're going now. The black-haired enthusiastically declared, getting on the gondola's driver's seat. Get on, I'll give you a strong push out, the marksman said, mildly annoying the arrow cook. You're coming too. Right then, the 17-year-old let Crowboat's dial engines roar. Alright, let's go to Upper Yard. No, the sharpshooter loudly complained as the very small boat left Angel Island's docks. Upper Yard was only a question of time. Bonus in between. After the three went past gate number 2, a deep breath of Sky Island's air before doing what he wanted to do for at least 3 minutes. All of a sudden, the leg fighter assaulted his captain brutally, leaving bumps, bruises and blood behind. Just what the actual fuck, Sanji? The wanted criminal screeched at his cook, his own eyes on fire and his skin hot and red. Don't you dare play innocent, shitty captain. You had extremely close physical contact with my Konis-chan, and touched her beautiful angel skin and the underside of her. I wanted to do that since I saw her for the first time. What Sanji said was, in fact, correct, and the D-carrier knew that, but nevertheless, the Paramecia user found that not even an excuse for attacking a nakama. At first, he wanted to hit back, but after thinking it over again, the future Pirate King decided to pay him back in another way. ZH, now I truly understand why Zoro thinks you're stupid. Triggered by this remark, the smoker turned around and threatened the most wanted man's son. Take that mosshead side one more time and I'll leave your damn crew. All blue, remember? Defeated, the swirly-browed cook blinked twice before sighing out an answer. Fine, you won. Sorry about earlier. Luffy felt himself smile. Halfway to Upper Yard, after sliding down a small milky road waterfall, its trees started to appear way bigger than they used to. Hey look, what's that humongous forest? The sniper exclaimed in surprise. Those trees are bigger than on the map. That map is from 200 years ago, right? The cook spoke, lying relaxed on his spot. Over time, those trees surely must have grown. And if even one tree is that big, the island must be more impressive with size. It's the entrance. In less than a second, the heads of the long-nosed and curly-browed shot forward where their captain was looking. Tribal-style entrance pillars with fire burning atop and God's kami mark made an entrance to Upper Yard pretty frightening. Even more frightening were rows of huge gray totem-like statues behind the entrance. What's frightening about them were not their color or size, but their teeth and the impression that all of them were watching the ones passing. It was no wonder the darker-skinned boy had a shadowy and scared expression on his face. I want to go back. But there was no going back. Crowboat with its passengers further and further passed into God's territory, with the area becoming more and more scary, wild animals hiding around and watching, and sliced-up ships in the water. There are things around here. Well, it's a forest here. Yeah. Usopp shook his head. No, wait, look around, you guys. There are wrecked ships, and they've all been sliced up in half. The Straw Hat captain frowned. Must have been one of those traps. Shaking his head and sweating, the syrup villager decided to question this. What do you mean, traps? Those swinging axes with monster faces right in front of us. The rubber man nonchalantly replied with a shrug. What do you mean? The cowardly liar almost had an heart attack. Not only did his captain speak so casually about dangerous stuff like this, he had also been right. Huge axes swinging on chains with monster faces on them. A dozen of them, all capable of cutting up ships bigger than Mary, right in front of the trio. At moments like this, Garp's grandson chose to make use of his status as captain. Everyone, let's paddle. Paddle like never before. Let's not let those stupid traps win against us. And they paddled, paddled, and paddled. One for his life, one for everyone's lives, and one for Nami Swan, and Robin Schwan. Getting away was child's play. Phew. The relieved marksman let out, wiping some sweat off his forehead. We did it. We should be safe for now. Keywords. For now. Not long after the axe incident, another deadly trap went off. A certain 17-year-old screamed when a sharp spear of wood missed his head by a couple inches. Spears now? The fighting cook calmly asked. Before a massive barrage of spears struck them, the other 17-year-old took countermeasures. Armament, gomu gomu no fuzen. Raindrops on asphalt would be an accurate comparison. Every spear hitting solid black crumbled upon impact. There was no such thing as an injury or damage on behalf of the present Straw Hats or Crowboat. "We made it through," the blonde proudly remarked in victory. "Now I just hope there's no more of this," the sharpshooter mumbled, recovering from his second shock. Ironically, a shining light, indicating another attack, appeared from above. "Huh, now what?" he demanded, only to be shit-scared shortly after. A huge circular disc with sharp edges came flying towards Crowboat, and they barely dodged. "WWE barely dogged it," he gasped out with a high voice. Sanji closely observed the disc and predicted its movement. "No," the arrow cook stated, "we didn't, it's coming back." "Dodge!" the curly-haired screamed, directed at the future Pirate King still calmly steering their vehicle. Seeing how his friend didn't even move a muscle, the sniper considered jumping into the river. But Luffy did take action after all. Without looking backwards, Dragon's Son stretched his left arm out, grabbing the disc with hardened fingers, thus stopping the rotation. "There you go." Usopp gulped, practically bathing in sweat. Thanks, Luffy. You saved us, eh?" he wanted to say, but a second disc surprised him again. Another O. And just like last time, the tall boy effortlessly stopped a deadly trap. I guess that was the last one. Shivers went down the marksman's spine and conflicting thoughts appeared in his brain. I simply don't know what to do. I feel helpless, unable to survive on my own. The difference of power between Luffy and me is astronomical. I don't think he deserves a weakling like me as his nakama. At the same time, the Straw Hat gained access to those thoughts through Haki. It made him sad, really sad. Meanwhile, deeper on Upper Yard, the abducted Straw Hats led by Zoro were trying to figure out what to do. "Damn, this Super Express lobster just deserting us here," the green-haired cursed, bearing a pissed expression on his face. "Where exactly are we?" Chopper asked while standing on Mary's railing. "What's for certain is that it's the interior of Upper Yard," Nami stated without worry in her voice. Robin agreed. "It's almost as if this is a sacrificial altar." "Sacrificial altar?" the ginger repeated, tensing up. "This could be worse than I thought." The small hybrid turned his around. "Nami, what's a sacrifice?" "It means you're being offered to God while you're alive," she explained. Seemingly, the brown-furred was relieved. "Oh, that's it? I thought it was being boiled alive," he admitted, thinking about the worst case for him. "Actually, it's something like that," the archaeologist announced, making the blue-nosed's eyes rapidly open. "Whatever the method, your life is given to God." The reindeer-human hybrid screamed, his teeth sharp from being scared. "Does that mean we're going to be killed?" Suddenly, the Zone lost his balance and fell over from the railing, constantly hitting the sacrificial altar's stairs, deeper and deeper. "Chopper!" a worried shout from the navigator came. Knowing what to do, the swordsman jumped from his position on the ship to save his nakama. Luckily for both, two hands sprouted from the last stairstep already saved the latter. Still, not all threats were gone. A huge skyfish with dark blue and black stripes resembling a shark lunged at the reindeer, inflicting great panic upon him. But the Shimotsuki villager stopped it midair, so Chopper had enough time to escape back up. "What is that?" the orange-haired wide-eyed exclaimed in fear and surprise. "A shark, in the sky. A sky shark? Ah!" The Zone user continued screaming since then. As he arrived on top of the altar, he started shouting something else. "Zoro, Zoro." At the same time, underwater, the moss-haired was doing his best to defeat these dodged him every time he was not defending. "Damn, I'm way out of my element and can't move well as I can on land." A couple of times, they both jumped out of the cloud water during their battle, the Straw Hats worrying about the first mate and shouting his name. After another jump, neither of them started coming back for a longer span of time. "Zoro isn't coming back up, do you think?" the 18-year-old began in shock. "He got eaten?" "Ah, Zoro was eaten," the doctor hysterically screamed. The raven-haired didn't feel that way. If he was eaten, the clouds would have turned red. Nami turned her head to the right. "How can you say something so scary so calmly?" she furiously snapped at the blue-eyed. Just then, unexpectedly, the sky shark came flying out of the water, a bump on his head, Zoro following immediately after with a raised fist. "I'm so sick of you." The 19-year-old then landed on the sacrificial altar's bottom stairs, and the sky shark right beside him, tears flowing out of his eye. "This is bad," the mosshead muttered while walking up the stairs. "Doesn't look like swimming out of there will do us any good." "You punched that shark," the Kokoyashi villager spoke. "I thought you were a swordsman?" "You're so strong, Zoro. What happened to your so-called swordsman's pride? Will you quit nagging about everything?" he finally yelled at her in annoyance. Suddenly, at least 3 more sky shark fins appeared on the surface. There wasn't just one. There's a whole swarm of sky sharks, the reindeer doctor loudly observed, again with sharp teeth. Can't even swim to the shore like this, the 60 million berry man complained, wringing out his wet white t-shirt. Though we can't just sit here either, the 28-year-old added. From above, the money-loving ginger threw a dark blue sleeveless shirt at the muscular man. Much to his annoyance, it landed on his head. To put it on, the moss head turned his head to the right as he put his left arm into the shirt's non-existing sleeve. While doing that, he noticed a huge hole on going merry. This is bad. We can't set sail with a hull like this, the green-haired observed, lifting his head again. Try to fix the ship somehow, Chopper. Me? Okay, fix it? The orange-haired inquired, surprised. Are you planning to do something? I'm gonna get into this forest somehow. The swordsman answered. We should probably make this our base of operations. I'm sure Luffy and the others are headed here in search of us. It's like they say, if you get lost, stay where you are. Sweat dropping, the navigator pointed at the vice captain, especially you. Without a second thought, the moss-haired shrugged her words off and approached the Oharan. Oi, can you possibly get me something to go ashore without having to touch the water, like a vine or something? Yes, sure. The tall and slender woman replied, providing him with that vine without any problems. Swordsman-san, mind if I join you? Huh? No, but don't be slowing me down, the mosshead said. That, of course, caught the 18-year-old girl's attention. Hold on, where are you going? Robin. She shouted, complaining about not wanting to be left alone with Chopper. Searching for history. The tanned woman announced, exited about this theme. At least 1,000 years have passed since this altar was built, and there are many more historic relics that are waiting for me. Perhaps some jewel fragments would help our ship and budget. Hearing that, a smirk formed up on the Kokoyashi villager's face. I'm coming too. After you were so scared? The blue-nosed yelled at her in disbelief with sharp teeth. Berry signs appeared in her eyes. It's for historical investigation. She literally has berry signs in her eyes. Zoro, who was ready to jump, cleared his throat a couple times. Then he jumped off, letting out a Tarzan shout. A certain orange-haired both sweat dropped and cringed. What is this? Then, after Robin's turn, it was hers, and she was visibly afraid. Oh man, it's so high. It's about 50 meters. The ex-scholar informed. Mess up and you'll die. Could you stop doing that? Few more seconds passed, and the Straw Hat navigator jumped. As she gained more and more speed, she came to a realization. Wait, it's too fast, I can't stop. Just before crashing into a tree, at least 6 hands safely stopped her. TT, thank you. See, you have guts. The Buster Call survivor nonchalantly spoke, walking forward. That's what you get for not saying, it's not the issue here. When the first mate walked off too, he entrusted Mary to Chopper. You're in charge now, Chopper. We're counting on you. We'll be back soon. Chopper waved them goodbye. Right? Be careful, everyone, come back safe. After 20 seconds, when the three were far away and small as ants in the hybrid's eyes, he admired them once more. I'm too scared to go. Everyone is brave and amazing. I wonder if I'll be as brave someday too. Anyway, I'll do everything I can now, the 15-year-old declared, turning around. Being all alone and in charge of the ship in this dangerous forest is enough proof that everyone trusts me. I gotta do my best. He then grabbed Usopp's toolbox and started moving. I just wonder what Luffy and the others are doing now. Sanji. Luffy loudly complained, pouting. Why can't we take those 2 giant loaches you just knocked out with us? I'm sure you'd do something super yummy out of them. Because, Sanji explained, each of them are as big as Mary. Do you think Crowboat can pull both of them? Realizing it's not possible, the black-haired gave up on that, but I still want something to eat. Geez, you damn glutton, guys, Usopp alerted them, focusing on a large gray building in front of them. There's a huge scary statue and 4 different entries. Don't tell me they're each leading to 4 different places, the blonde muttered, unsure what to do. As the trio got closer, the darker-skinned was able to identify the kanji on each of the entrances. Swamp ordeal, iron ordeal, string ordeal, ball ordeal. That confused the cook a little. 4 ordeals, and we can choose to go into any of those, huh? Does God want to play a game with us? Widely smirking, the 17-year-old pointed at the entrance on the right. From the beginning, he knew what to choose. Let's choose ball, it sounds the least frightening and most fun. Is that your reasoning? The long-nosed snapped at his captain, upset about the fun part, since it was an ordeal nonetheless. However, after fantasizing about the scary possibilities of the other ordeals, he came to an agreement. But yeah, I agree it sounds the least frightening. And so, they steered into that ordeal's entrance, where a long dark tunnel surprised them. After a while, the leg fighter spoke up. Man, this tunnel doesn't seem to have an end. I'm getting suspicious, maybe this entrance right here is a trap. The curly-haired shuddered. We can't turn back now, can we? Ah ha 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 ha. The Straw Hat laughed out joyfully. Relax, we aren't gonna fall off Sky Island, he told, which was technically true. We better not, the sniper angrily yelled with sharp teeth. You could reflect on your life multiple times on your way down. Right. The fighting cook joined in. That's obviously not gonna happen. Seconds later, directly after reaching the tunnel's end, two of them had to realize they were wrong, as the trio fell off a huge waterfall. The sharpshooter's heart almost stopped beating, and the Vinsmoke never had a more comically shocked face. Everything seemed like moving in slow motion. No. You gotta be kidding me. Splash. Asterisk crowboat's landing made all the birds on the trees fly away from that sound. Still having to breath hard, the marksman and ex-prince were recovering from the shock. Pant still alive. It was so cool and scary. I haven't had this much action in a long time. The future Pirate King let his nakama know, which wasn't a good idea. You dumbass, the former royal shouted, kicking the rubber man multiple times in the head, which had no effect since he was made of rubber. That was all your fault, misleading us like that. 10 minutes later, slowly, Crowboat was moving on a forest road again. Everything seemed calm, even when big, floating white balls appeared out of nowhere after a simple turn to the right. It's just Ball Guy again. I'll let Sanji deal with him, he's not worth my energy. A recovered Sanji mused. These are island cloud balls. I don't know what they are there for, but stay sharp. They might be traps. On the rear side of the boat, Usopp, still not fully recovered, was lying on the ground. Why you think so? He croaked out, barely moving his mouth. Yeah. The blonde spoke, carefully observing the area. It's still an ordeal, right? Think about it. Who would let criminals just pass? What's also bothering me is that no priest is around. Don't get me wrong, it'd be nice if we didn't get to see a priest, but there are 4 priests, and I thought we'd be encountering one after entering through a gate. Suddenly, a ball directly up front came flying towards Crowboat. Oh, one of those balls is in our way. The curly-browed casually said, not thinking of anything especially dangerous. I'll just take care of that. Dragon's son, knowing the truth about the balls, tried to stop his nakama from endangering them, but it was too late. Boom. Asterisk dark smoke formed around the trio, dirtying their hair and clothes. The fighting cook coughed. What's the deal with these balls? The long-nosed exclaimed, danger apparent to him. 3 seconds later, an annoying laugh combined with an annoying voice sounded from above. Ho ho hoo, there's no telling what will come out. Another 3 seconds later, the owner of the voice revealed himself, a round ball-shaped not-so-manly man with red hair and white clothing. Satori of the forest. Thank you for choosing my ordeal. Ho ho hoo, he said, grinning wide like a child, yet still looking smug. Enel's priest expected to appear menacing and impressive in front of the trio, but all of the adventuring pirates were left sweat-dropping. Who's this dumpling freak? As pathetic as it sounds, one of God's priests. Even the lying coward of the Straw Hats was disappointed. I thought those priests were strong and terrifying, we might have an easy game. Spot on, the leg fighter remarked with all honesty. Ho ho hoo, Satori laughed out, still dumpling around on one of his surprise balls. This guy's dumber than I thought, Usopp's son furiously hissed at Garp's grandson, who couldn't do anything but agree. So true, we sure won't get any useful information out of him. Sanji, deal with him fast. The pirate captain ordered, not wanting to waste any time. But beware, he has haki. Upon ordered, the skilled chef used Geppo to quickly reach the priest. Oi, Dango, Dumpling. Nami-san and the others are okay, I hope? He shouted, angry about the kidnapping. Do you mean the sacrifices? If so, I wouldn't know. Even if they're alone, they're going to die. Even if they manage to escape, they're still going to die. Ho hoo, the priest informed the Vinsmoke, completely ignoring his foe was running on air. Hearing that response, the ex-prince's eyes closed, showing he's further angered and ready for a fight with haki. Never talk about our nakama's death like that, he yelled enraged, preparing a hard attack. Collier, the former royal exclaimed, trying to kick the Dango man's neck. Possessing observation haki, the ball-shaped male dodged the fierce attack, but what he didn't expect was a kick to his shoulders at the spot where he evaded to. Paul. The ball-like priest screamed out, holding his shoulder in pain. I used my mantra, how did you hit me? A magician doesn't show his secrets, was the ex-royal's reply. Now, back to where we were, shitty Dango, boss coat. Once again, Satori did his best to escape the former attack, but was mercilessly hit by the latter, lunge. Now not only his right shoulder, but also his back hellishly hurt. Come on, think Satori, what is happening right now? I use my mantra to escape his first attacks, but his second attacks hit me where I escaped to, if I don't escape the first one. The red-haired priest now had a lewd and devilish smirk on his face. Satori, you're a genius. Yes, I'm a genius. Surprising the curly-browed, Enel's fourth priest stretched out his right-left hand, standing with confidence. What are you doing, awaiting me to kick you, If you want some, have some, shitty priest, flanche shoot? Impact. Unbeknownst to Sanji, Satori had stored an impact dial in his left glove, and it went off as the love cook struck his opponent's hand. The crash sent the pervert flying to the ground, and the dumpling man into a tree, then into the ground. Still, luckily for the former, he had two reliable nakama to help him out. You were amazing, Sanji, the darker-skinned genuinely cheered, alongside a silently cheering boy with a straw hat. Save you Kumperman's faux Rita, HEWP me now, save your compliments for later, help me now, the cook scolded the sniper through his bloody mouth with missing teeth, which would magically appear back later on. Yosh, the 160 million berry man exclaimed, putting his injured nakama back on crowboat. Let's meet up with the others right now. So, you're saying our ship was almost destroyed by a priest you failed to beat up and drive away? The sharpshooter questioned, staring at his small nakama in a neutral expression that could quickly change. Shy and scared of being punished for almost getting himself killed and going Mary destroyed, Chopper let out a subdued whimper. Why yes, I'm sorry. After 5 seconds of staring, the marksman let out a relieved sigh. Fine, it's okay. I'm glad weren't hurt this hard. We can worry about our ship later. Hearing that, the toddler-sized doctor teared up, but that didn't last long as he was covered by positive, non-harmful flames. I'll become a more dependable man. At least 6 hours had passed since the Straw Hats reunited at the sacrificial altar, and now they were barbecuing sky sharks at a campfire on Upper Yard. Revelations were made, like the fact that the Sky Knight had come for the hybrid's whistle call to save him from Priest Shira. Unfortunately, he failed, and the reindeer had to rescue and heal him from injuries the aviator-like man had inflicted on the old man. Pierre was also present. The team Zoro led while going on a research trip also made discoveries, as presented by Nami. Hear me out guys, this is really important now. Zoro, Robin and I have discovered something unimaginable. On our trip, we have seen the other side of Mont Blanc Cricket's house. That means, Upper Yard was once part of Jaya. She then put Jaya's map together with Upper Yard's map, revealing a skull. Nolan said in his logbook that he found the mountain of gold in the skull's right eye. As you see, Jaya and Upper Yard together resemble a skull, which means the mountain of gold didn't fall into the sea, but rose into the sky with the knock upstream. Both the long-nosed and reindeer human hybrids' mouths were agape. Really? That is big news. Yes, it is. The ginger confirmed, excited about all the gold. It's here, and waiting for us. Luffy slammed his fist into his other palm. It's decided, tomorrow, we go gold hunting. The black-haired then rubbed his stomach, deciding it's clearly not full enough. Sanji, more sky sharks. Robin, after some more time passed, thought it was a good idea to tell Usopp to put out the campfire in order to hide from enemies on the island. Against her expectations, he ended up trolling her about, someone who lived in darkness needs a campfire. And just right he appeared with a huge load of wood requested by their captain to enlarge the fire. No, put the wood away, Robin's right. The navigator berated them for all the extra wood. Don't worry about that, Nami Swan. The blonde tried to reassure the girl, holding a torch in his right hand. Wild animals are scared of fire anyway. Over a dozen silhouettes of wild, carnivorous animals with fierce, eyes shining in the dark were seen in the shadows behind the arrow cook. The orange-haired noted this of course and reacted like she'd always do. They're even behind you. Suddenly, a white wolf with sharp teeth jumped in front of the Straw Hats and barked at them. The blue-nosed translated. Most of the rant was about how the pirates were making noise and were illegally on the wolves' territory. Annoyed at this, the money lover bonked him on the head, tensions between the animals and humans getting bad. But in the end, the wolves' leader stopped them from fighting, and they all ended up befriending each other, which led to a party by both sides. Meanwhile, Gon Fall, who had waken up, talked to the more passive Straw Hats about Upper Yard and its origins, and how Earth from the Blue Sea was considered something immensely valuable to the sky people up there, called Verth. Another few hours passed, and everyone was peacefully sleeping. Overall, the night was very peaceful, but only because the next day would be big adventure and business. Calm comes before the storm. Chapter 20. A Friendly Ghost. Deep in the night, everyone partying with the wolves a few hours ago was asleep, except for 2.5 men. One man had to take a piss, but was too scared to go alone. The other man noted a familiar, yet mysterious presence nearby with his observation hockey, and the final man was only half awake, telling the first man to leave him alone and take a leak in the dark forest himself. Man, this is bad, Usopp thought, sweating out of fear. I don't want to go alone into this scary, freaky, creepy forest by myself, and there's no one left I can ask to accompany me. The girls would refuse, Sanji too, Chopper would be scared himself, and Luffy, like Zoro, would tell me to man up and go myself. Maybe if I move quietly, and fast. Then, after turning his head, The sniper saw his captain rubbing his eyes from waking up. "Ah, Luffy's awake and looks like he'll stand up right away, I'm so lucky." "Huh, Usopp, didn't know you were awake." Luffy tiredly muttered, putting on his red captain's coat. "I had to check something round here, what about you?" The sniper stuttered, too embarrassed to admit it. "Can I stick close to you?" The Straw Hat shrugged. "Fine, but it'd be better if you stayed behind." Nodding in sweat, the sharpshooter gave his response. "Don't have to tell me twice." It had been short, the walk to this mysterious presence. Only a couple of trees, and they were at their destination, the coast around the sacrificial altar. To the messy black-haired surprise, that presence he was looking for was on the sacrificial altar, exactly on Going Mary's right. Now that he and a further scared marksman approached the silent coast through the thick fog, a silhouette appearing to repair their lovely ship with a hammer came into their vision. 3 seconds later, it turned its head and smiled like an innocent child, leading to 2 different reactions. "Frankie told me about this. If you care enough for a ship, its Klabouterman will show itself during that ship's hard times, and somehow fix it. This means, that is Mary's Klabouterman." The mentally 29-year-old thought, both saddened and happy about this phenomenon. "Gee ghost, a ghost," Usopp's son quietly exclaimed, pulling his fellow 17-year-old's captain's coat with the message. "Let's get out of here, Luffy, ghosts are scary." However, against the curly-haired's expectations, the tall boy stood there, not moving a muscle. "Usopp," his voice was filled with anger, disappointment and annoyance. "If you can't face a friendly ghost, then how can you become a brave warrior of the sea? How can you tell it's friendly?" The coward yelled at him in a low tone, bearing the tick mark. "Your hockey stuff again?" Dragon's son shook his head in grave disappointment, then glared at his nakama. "You don't need hockey to tell, you just know." Basically, the pirate captain ordered his third member to think about it, and realized that Ghost was a friend. It was a nakama, having been with them since Syrup Village. Garp's grandson now proceeded to talk to his ship's spirit, after shortly feeling guilty for its body's fate. "Hey, Mary, how are you?" Hearing that spirit's cute, innocent childlike laugh nearly made his heart burst. "Ha ha ha, nice of you to ask, Captain, I'm feeling good." Mary's lie was obvious, and the wanted criminal knew it too well, which made him anything but happy. "I know you're not, you're heavily damaged." Despite the blunt, negative and exposing statement, Mary's Klabouterman maintained its smile. "It's okay, really, it's okay. At this point, no one can save me anyway." The 160 million berry man almost grimaced, knowing the sad truth. He even held onto his heart to prevent his tears from flowing. "What can I do for you, T?" "Nothing," Mary firmly answered, slightly serious. "It doesn't matter anyway, I don't have much time anymore." "To make you happy in your last days?" Now Mary's expression changed too, as a consequence of the ship feeling conflicted. Roughly 9 seconds later, after pure silence, its smile went back up. "Just be happy with your nakama on me. Nothing more. Seeing you guys happy is the only thing that makes me happy." "Okay." The young pirate weakly let out, walking away. "I'll fulfill your wish, Mary." With that, the future pirate king left, his head hanging down, depressed. Meanwhile, the liar was even more depressed. Not only did he learn his longtime friend's and love interest's most sincere gift was actually a living thing and a nakama all the way back from East Blue, but that living thing was dying, and he was unable to do anything to save his precious little ship. The long-nosed new Going Mary didn't have much time left, but he deeply refused to call another ship his home and friend. After taking a piss, the skinny darker-skinned boy left without a word, and would not speak to anyone for a long time. Next morning, all but 2 Straw Hats were really surprised when they arrived at the coast, looking up at the sacrificial altar. Going Mary's been repaired. When they stepped on Mary, especially Usopp noted various changes. I hate to admit it, but those repairs suck, yet are all much better than my repairs. I seriously need to learn how to be a shipwright." "Strange," the green-haired mumbled, holding his chin. "The only people beside us in Upper Yard are our enemies. Who would fix our ship? It isn't even the flying model anymore," Sanji observed, carefully looking around. "Who cares anyway?" Nami spoke up, not caring, upsetting some of her nakama. "If someone destroyed Mary, I'd be worried too, but that's not the case, so get going, we have lots to do." Robin frowned. "I agree with you on that, Navigator-san, but how do we get the ship off this altar?" Silence befell the navigator. I don't know, does anyone else have an idea?" she asked, not knowing what to do. "I have an idea," the most wanted man's son stated, walking up close to the small vessel. "I'm gonna lift Mary and throw our little lamb into the water." Most of the crew sweat dropped at that. He can't be serious. But he was. The rubber man effortlessly lifted Going Mary and threw it into the bay, leaving all of his crew members astonished, some more than others. Yosh, that must have done less damage than Usopp's method last time. In disbelief, everyone but the archaeologist shook their heads. "This is crazy, yes, this is crazy." "Aren't you coming, guys?" the insanely strong boy asked, acting like what he did moments ago didn't happen at all. What about the gold hunting you were going to plan, Nami? I've seen it all. He's unbelievable. A certain group of 5 thought, walking down the altar's stairs, a fu-fu-fu-ing woman trailing behind them. Okay everyone, here's the plan. The ginger called, drawing some lines and arrows on Upper Yard's map. You guys go to the Skull's right eye and get some gold, while me and 2 others use the ship to provide us a getaway at the ruins beach area. After all this, we'll be super rich pirates. Chopper was astonished by the orange-haired's selfish plan. You want to get all the gold without doing anything? You're so weird, Nami. Annoyed, she turned her head to the reindeer. Huh, did you say something? Not wanting to make her angry, the hybrid slowly backed away, shaking his head and sweating. And no, nothing. Getaway. Sounds good to me, the sniper piped up, making sure not to enter the large forest. 1 minute later, the teams were made up, with Luffy, Zoro, Chopper and Robin in the woods, and Sanji, Usopp and Nami on the ship. Let's meet safely at the eastern coast, yeah. 10 minutes later. Contrary to his expectations, the large tropical forest wasn't that creepy. The reindeer-human hybrid mostly walked with the Oharan, having a rather scientific conversation with her, soon changing the topic. While Luffy and Zoro were arguing on how right is and west, the blue-nosed made a confession. You know, I feel safe together with you 3, but so met me since not long ago. I really feel like those big roots with weird patterns are moving. He admitted, nervously shifting his antlered head. The former scholar nodded. You're right, for some reason, I also feel like we're being observed, or even followed by someone. Maybe those weird roots. There are many scary, grotesque things big roots can do to a person. I don't want to know any of these, the brown-furred yelled with sharp teeth, scared about even one thing, which was justified the way she talked. Unfortunately for everyone, that scream had alerted the roots, which turned out to be a snake, a crazily huge, blue, scary snake. Once the master of the sky, Nola, growled at the 4, the Straw Hats knew, they had to fight her to continue, because otherwise she wouldn't let them. Damn it, I just learned right isn't west, and now this huge-ass snake wants to eat us. I should just turn it into some fillet. The swordsman shouted in a furious tone, drawing his swords. Wait, the pirate captain commanded, holding his first mate back with his hand stretched out. You can't fight him, not as of now. Leave it to me. At great speeds, the extremely venomous python rushed towards the 4, surprising 3 of them with her immensely impressive speed, especially for her size. At the last moment, shortly before Nola could bite with her massive teeth, the black-haired stopped the reptile with his king's haki. We are not your enemies, and we aren't food either, back off. Intimidated by the Straw Hats' menacing king's haki, Nola retreated, clearing their path. Sugui, you're amazing. Luffy, the 15-year-old gratefully cheered, stars in his eyes. However, his next decision made the doctor exclaim in panic. Everyone, listen up. He spoke, sounding extremely serious, mature and leader-like. We should split for now. You may ask why, but trust me, I know what I'm doing. But Luffy, what if that snake attacks us again? It won't. I can 100% guarantee that. The 17-year-old confirmed, turning his head back away from the zone user. I trust you, stay safe. With that, the 4 Straw Hats split into 3 groups, going into 3 different directions, and awaiting 3 different high-ranked opponents. Alongside a raven-haired woman, a certain rubber man was walking southwards, humming a cheerful melody. Captain San, why did you come with me of all people? Not that I complain, though. The Buster Call survivor curiously asked. Chopper wants to become a reliable man, so he can prove it by surviving this forest. This may sound cruel, but it's nothing compared to what my grandfather put me and my brothers through. Zoro wants to become the world's greatest swordsman, and out of all the people here, there surely must be some opponents he can defeat. I tagged along with you for 2 reasons, mainly because I don't want to get lost. My sense of direction is better than Zoro's but still terrible, the 160 million berry man answered. How terrible? The 79 million berry woman inquired, blinking 2 times. Shrugging, the boy in red gave his answer. I know the most basic things, and that's it. In my previous life, I thought it was north where it's cold, and south where it's warm. To some degree, it would make sense, because I come from East Blue, where it's cold up north, especially on the North Pole, and warm down south, where it's closer to the tropical calm belt. But then again, there's the South Pole, and to people in South Blue and West Blue, it's colder down south, and warmer up north. Foo. You always have to look at every aspect of things, the blue-eyed laughed. God's shrine, upper yard. Sitting on his comfortable throne, a small multicolored couch, a certain pale and very tall man was musing about events happening at that time. The Shandians have invaded upper yard, and the Blue Sea people have split up even further. Then, instantaneously, a mean grin appeared on his face. What a lively day, huh? But who will survive? Let the survival game begin. Yahahaha. Very far off the original route, a moss-haired swordsman was losing his patience. He'd been trying his new flying slash, but no enemies strong enough for the moss head to test it on them crossed his road, and the slash itself wasn't nearly as perfect as the 19-year-old imagined it to be. What a pain. The skull's right eye is nowhere in sight, and there's no one for me to test my newest flying slash, if M. All of a sudden, a loud war cry came from his right. As the Shimotsuki villager turned his head, he eyed a Shandian running towards him with a spear held up high. "A gorilla. Seems like he wants to fight," the first mate observed, getting in a fighting stance. "Die," the tribal warrior exclaimed, quickly shut up by a fist to his face. "Who the hell are you guys?" the green-haired complained next to the unconscious Shandian, wondering why they were attacking him and his nakama for no reason. Then Zoro turned his head and noted another man, but not speaking to him or antagonizing him in any way. That man was goat-like, with white clothes, horns, and long earlobes. Standing on a tree trunk, the goat-like man was looking at the opposite directions, begging for his life. "Please, forgive me. I give up. I give up. I lose. Please don't kill me." Too bad for the divine soldier. His killer didn't accept any of his pleas, shooting the horned man before revealing himself by jumping from his spot. "Another one?" the swordsman called in surprise, warily regarding the new man, a tall gunslinger with broad muscles wearing a dark green jacket and a straw-like hat covering half of his head. The tribal decorations and wings confirmed his Shandian origin. "Hey, if you ain't a priest, don't be attacking me. I'm in a hurry." The Shandian attacked anyway, without a second thought, not listening to the blue seaman's words. Blinding lights came out of his pistol's barrels before the bullets, with the moss-haired barely dodging. In a flash, the gorilla moved to another spot, a tree branch, just to repeat what he did earlier, just with more bullets. "Bastard, what the hell are those flashing pistols?" the 19-year-old yelled in sweat, his teeth gritted, realizing that man was much stronger than the enemies he fought before, and a force to be reckoned with. What the Shimotsuki villager didn't know was that the Shandian warrior, Bram, leaves to another spot immediately after shooting his rounds, while the one attacked can't see him. The moss had learned this the hard way, being kicked in the torso unexpectedly. Although it didn't hurt much, he was still taken by surprise. "Cough, you're fast. And you're tough," Bram nonchalantly admitted, giving his opponent's strength some respect. "I apologize. I underestimated you, Blue Sea person." Throwing his bag to the side, the first mate lifted his head in confidence. "No, I should apologize. I had you pegged as a small fry." After some seconds of staring, the Shandian suddenly activated his dial-powered skates, getting behind Zoro within a second, greatly surprising the latter. "He didn't even step towards me," the 60 million berryman thought in shock while dodging the bullets once again. "There are all kinds of waivers and dials," they said. "He's moving forward using blasts, and his pistols are always flashing before shooting, which means he's a skilled dial user." Suddenly, after rethinking what he thought before, the green-haired had a brilliant idea. "He uses dials, and I use hockey, of course." As always during a great fight, the future greatest swordsman of the world put on his blackish-green bandana on, closing his eyes. "I have seen behind her trick." Dropping some sweat, the gunslinger opened his mouth in surprise, not saying a word. "But, can you do the same thing to someone who can't get blinded?" Still with his eyes closed, Kuina's former rival got Wado Ichimonji out of its sheath and held it in a way he can make a flying slash. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. Those 6 roots of man have good, evil, and those have pure and impure, 36 worldly desires in a lifetime. "Huh?" Bram let out, confused about his foe's speech. "What are you talking about?" "I now have the barrel of a cannon pointed at you." The swordsman calmly spoke, readying his attack. "You have pistols, I have a cannon. Power and distance-wise, my weapon is superior. You've done well, but now you die." "TCH." The gorilla spat, taking this as an insult. "A cannon? Where is this weapon of yours? Have you gone mad?" While the winged man was loading his guns with a great amount of bullets, a wide smirk formed on the moss-haired's face. "Have you ever seen a flying slash?" "Nonsense," the hatted warrior shouted, firing more bullets than he had fired the entire day. "It or you. Sanjiraku pound ho." Spiral-shaped air silenced the entire area for some seconds. Compressed air with sharp edges cut Bram's chest and bullets, and the force alone sent him flying. Blood running from his wound, the proud warrior collapsed on the ground, letting out a small moan of pain. "Sorry," the former bounty hunter silently let out, putting Wado back in its sheath. "Nothing personal, but I ain't the guy who'll die when told to." With that, he grabbed his bag from the ground, and walked off, not a single hint of brag coming out of him. Sanji was down, emotions on the merry varying. Not long ago, it was peaceful on the small pirate ship, with Gonfald teaching them about dials for battle, like the impact dial. One moment, however, Enel decided to take a random trip and landed on Mary's railing, striking fear into the weaker Straw Hats. Despite not knowing who his opponent was, Sanji rightfully judged him as a threat, and attacked him, a grave mistake. "Sanji-kun!" Nami exclaimed in horror, running up fast to him. Sanji! Usopp screamed, fearing for his friend's life more than his own. Like Nami, he ran up to the knocked-out cook, checking his condition. Yahahaha, yahahaha. Enel laughed, amused by the Blue Sea people's worry about their friend. Hey, I can't hear his heart, the long-nosed informed, listening to the wrong side of the leg fighter's chest. No way. Yahahaha. Yahahaha. What a foolish man. And I didn't even come here to bring you harm. Then why are you here? The old man demanded, intensely glaring at the current god, anger burning inside of him. Yahahaha. What a cold-hearted hello, it's truly been 6 long years, former god gone fall. At the same time, on the side, the curly-haired was crying about his nakama's death. Damn him. He killed Sanji, the darker-skinned cried, tears dropping onto the fighting cook's body. It's no use, his heart isn't beating at all. Hey wah, Sanji, Sanji, Sanji. Closely looking at the blonde, the navigator suddenly realized the mistake the liar was making. Wait, Usopp. That's his right side, his heart's on the left. Quickly, after learning the news, the sniper listened to the ex-royal's actual heart side, relieved about his survival. Yikes. It's beating, thank goodness, he came back to life. But still, the ginger spoke, carefully laying the former prince down. He's still greatly injured, he could die. What? Oh crap. This is bad. The Sky Knight lifted his gaze from the pirates and set it on the bandana-wearing god, Enel. There's no need to be indignant. It's been so long since we last met. The pale and muscular man calmly said. Why don't you cheer up a bit, gone fall? While the light blonde-haired was laughing his unique laugh again, the liar put all his courage together and stood up to the mighty former beer con, albeit shaking heavily. Hey, what the hell did you do to Sanji? Jay, just try something else. My 8,000 subordinates won't sit by quietly. Enel looked at him in disbelief, although not showing much of it, and so did the orange-haired. Here. If you run away now, I'll forgive you. What do you say? God Enel's reaction was disappearing for 1.5 seconds, confusing the ship's passengers a bit, then brutally striking down the marksman with lightning, with Usopp getting the same treatment as the arrow cook. Damn you! The white-haired furiously growled, wishing he could take down his worst enemy right there. Remain silent, and I will do nothing, got that? It was the calm, ruthless, ice-cold, psychopathic eyes the Logia had at that moment, which struck more fear than ever into the 18-year-old girl's heart. She nodded obediently. Good, he said that, but the Kokoyashi villager didn't feel like that. Who is this guy? What did he just do? Just what are you thinking? Skypia's former god scolded, trying to retain his patience. Your men that I captured when we invaded this island 6 years ago are working hard for me. The tyrant told, infuriating the peaceful old man even more. My divine squad, they're also very strong, truly great talent, they are. But it appears, their 6 years of hard labor is nearing its end. And as I'll no longer have any need for this island when they're done, I thought I'd come to bid you farewell, that's all. A smirk then formed on the younger one's face, changing the topic of their conversation. But the denizens of Skypia are all fools, you know? They only view this place as a clump of earth. What do you mean? The reason we forcefully took this island away, the reason the blue sea flies stepped foot onto this island, and the reason the Shandians are intent on returning to their home are not at all different. In other words, there is one thing everyone seeks on this island. It was because everyone desires the relics of Shandora, the legendary city of gold that prospered in the blue sea long ago, the knowledgeable lightning man proudly revealed. Gonfall was a little perplexed at this. Gold? What is that? Yahahaha. That's what I mean by ignorant. No one living here knows of gold and its value. Funny enough, this game is the final battle. The winner of this survival game will make the bountiful gold his own. Enel then proceeded to walk onto the railing, indicating his leaving. Yahahaha. Can you hear it? The sounds of this lively festival. As a matter of fact, I am a participant myself, so I must be off. Wait, Enel. The Sky Knight urgently called. The Divine Squad, are you going to free them? One last time before disappearing, he looked back. God only knows. Wait, Enel. But it was too late. Nami, still scared of the wingless man's powers, was relieved. Now she could treat her nakama's wounds without interruption. Or not. Ho ho hoo, ho ho hoo. 2 new figures stepped on the railing, 2 fat, ball-shaped, stupid-looking twins with annoying laughs. What? Who are you? Don't give us, what? One of them harshly answered, dumpling around and singing like his brother. We're the Deputy Divine Commanders. How dare you kill our brother Satori? How dare you? Nami couldn't help but sweat drop. What? I don't know any brother of yours. Ho 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 hoo, don't play dumb, my name is Hodori. My name is Katori. You guys killed our brother, ho ho hoo. Like I told you, I don't know what you're talking about, she furiously snapped at them, losing her patience. Satori was one of Enel's priests. The old man informed the money-loving navigator, calming her down. He guarded Illusion Forest. Finally, the ginger came to a realization. Then, the priest Luffy and the others defeated was. Yes, their elder brother. See, you do know, you must Paay. Pierre. Upon hearing his master's order, the pink bird threw Gon fall his lance. The orange-haired also got her weapon out.
Stay back, girl, T. No, the Kokoyasi villager interrupted him, a determined look on her face. Sometimes even I have to protect these guys.
Understanding, Skypia's former god switched his gaze back to the Dango brothers. Very well. First, ascertain their dials. Okay. Meanwhile, Hotori and Katori were dancing arm in arm. We're going to avenge our brother, ho ho hoo. I've had enough tempo. Electricity surged through the bodies of the Dango duo, defeating them quick and easily. Even the Sky Knight was impressed, grabbing them and throwing them into the Milky Road. You did wonderfully, girl. Yes, Nami cheered, proudly holding her Klimatat. We protected our ship and crew. Following that, they sailed on, looking after the injured. Close to the ruins, Chopper was wandering around, looking for his nakama. All the time, he'd been hunted either by the Shandians, or the Divine Squad. After finally having found some peace, he hoped to reunite with at least one of his nakama, in hope of not having to run again. Oi, guys, where are you? Is anyone here? It's me. At the same time, Priest Gedatsu, who had his eyeballs rolled back, tried to look at the reindeer and say something, but his mouth was closed as well. A tanuki. A divine soldier standing beside Gedatsu patiently told his master what he obviously was doing wrong. Gedatsu-sama, you must open your eyes to look forward. Instantaneously, his eyeballs rolled back to their normal position, and his mouth opened too. How careless of me. Fulfilling his duty as upper yard's priest, the dark-skinned man then walked over to the reindeer-human hybrid, trying to cross his arms, accidentally rolling his eyeballs backwards again. Where are you? Tanuki? HM. The blue-nosed turned around, and to the doctor's shock, he saw a scary-looking man, not because of his appearance, but because of his stupid actions. Ah, what's this? Grabbing a stick, the brown-furred poked the priest into the face, then into the nose. The latter was, of course, enraged, but due to having his mouth closed, the odd-haired couldn't answer. It took the goofy priest 10 seconds to open his mouth. Where did you disappear to? Gedatsu's stupidity made Chopper visibly confused. A concealment technique? The idiot thought, turning his head around twice, not knowing this would give him the ability to see again. Oh, his eyes are rolled back in his head. That's so scary. Gedatsu-sama. You cannot see the enemy with your eyes rolled back, the goat-like soldier explained, trying to stay calm. Realizing his carelessness, the Beercon's eyes opened up wide. How careless of me. His opponent's outright stupidity now completely baffled the 15-year-old. Huh? Is he an idiot? After his surprise faded 2 seconds later, the zone's face got serious, so did he himself. An enemy? I guess so, huh? Are you a priest? Indeed I am. Hesso. My name is Skypunk Gedatsu, priest of the almighty god Enel. I am in charge of Upper Yard's swamp ordeal, he answered, unable to speak out loud due to having his mouth closed. Huh? Say something, you jerk, the zone user yelled, losing his patience with the priest. Gedatsu-sama, he cannot hear you unless you speak out loud. How careless of me, is that something you normally forget? One moment to another, the comicality stopped, and even Gedatsu got serious. You had best watch your step. This is already my territory. We are surrounded by swamp clouds. Once you get caught by one of them, you cannot escape on your own. The survival rate here is 50%. Swamp? The swamp ordeal? The priest called, sinking inside the swamp clouds. You're sinking? The hybrid exclaimed, horrified by his foe's severe lack of intelligence. Fool! It has no effect on me, the dark-skinned shouted, activating some dials. Swamp cloud, milky dials. And he flew up high into the air, thanks to the dials stored inside his shoes. Rather than exclaiming in fear, Chopper found this gadget unbelievably cool. Sugui. He's shooting stuff out of his feet to fly, so cool. Now the winged man also started shooting out clouds from his gloves, forming one big cloud. A single tanuki will be no trouble at all. Take this, Numagumo burger. As the cloud rapidly descended, the odd-haired proudly told about his technique. With the weight of a cloud, and the properties of swamp, once you touch it, there is no hope for survival. However, contrary to the Beercon's aim, the attack cloud flew towards his subordinate, a goat-like divine soldier. Gedatsu-sama. No, I'm not the one you're. That swampy, merciless cloud didn't let the innocent soldier finish. It landed on his head, and prevented the man in white to breathe. Gedatsu's victim tried to get it off by pulling on it, but failed miserably. The Blue Sea Doctor watched in horror as the technically wrong man collapsed. Numagumo burger. Again, Gedatsu threw a swamp cloud as a deadly attack, this time at the reindeer. If the hybrid hadn't run, he would have died. Yikes. If one of those hits me, I'm dead, the blue-nosed screamed, eyes bulged out and teeth sharp out of fear. He ran to the almost dead divine soldier and pulled him out of the cloud, wanting to help as a doctor. Transforming into Heavy Point, the reindeer-human hybrid started hitting the unconscious man's chest to make him spit out swamp cloud water. Breathe, don't die. And he didn't die. The 15-year-old successfully saved his temporary patient, getting him on his side. Thank goodness, you're alive. Cough, I owe you my life. The man dressed in white weakly let out, an angry look on his face. Gedatsu, who descended back on the ground, was bearing that angry look too. Being saved by an enemy, how pathetic, and you call yourself one of the divine squad serving God? How dare you speak that way? The rescued divine soldier snapped, fuming inside. You'll pay, I'll never serve you again. Seemingly, the tall priest didn't care. I'll make you pray for my axe style, the goat-like man shouted, holding his hand with the axe style forward. Alright, we can do it. Let's fight together, the light brown furred yelled, getting into the same pose, then addressing a different person. Hey, you don't scare us. Very well. The beer con spoke in a calm tone, jet punch. Too fast to be seen. Enel's third priest landed a punch on the traitor's face, who was sent flying into a rock, thus triggering an even bigger rock to fall onto him, most likely killing him. The destructive jet dial. The dark-skinned man explained to a chopper who was shocked and frightened to the core. If you accelerate your punch with it, your opponent doesn't even have time to feel his own defeat. Though the fact that it rips clothing is a problem. This is a priest? The reindeer thought, sweating and shivers going down his spine. I have to run with everything I've got, or I'll die. He ran as fast as he could, even staying away from the swamp clouds. But unexpectedly, the winged man appeared in front of him, scaring the infant-sized hybrid even more. Where do you think you're going, Tanuki? Jet punch. Luckily for the reindeer-human hybrid, he managed to grab a rumble ball out of his bag in time, making an escape from the deadly punch possible. Rumble, jumping point. At first he thought he could escape, but the goofy priest with odd hair caught up in no time. So you're a zone type, huh? Gedatsu observed, slightly surprised. Still, useless, jet punch. Heavy point, once again, the zone escaped the worst, but Enel's third priest didn't waste any time. Numagumo burger. The zone user exclaimed, shocked and surprised. One of these things again? Guard point? The swamp cloud bounced off guard point chopper, and the moronic priest really got angry. You insolent little, jet punch. Gedatsu chased after the brown furred, and sent him flying into some ruins with his dial accelerated punch. The latter wasn't feeling that well after the impact. His fur stained in blood, the 15-year-old was lying on the ground, watching the approaching priest. His feet, a weak spot. Then, in spite of having his entire body hurt like hell, the doctor stood up, bearing a smile. He was going to turn the tables. You can still move? The man in purple spat, thinking he had already won the battle. Slow but steady, the Strawning trio approached the beer con, firm, determined, and lacking fear. This is my time, every time, I keep running, and the others need to protect me. That's why they don't rely on me. But from now on, I will not run away, and become a reliable man. Thick, humanoid fingers held on tight to the dark-skinned's purple shoes. Slowly, without realizing, the winged man would lose one of them. You little, what do you think you are doing? The odd-haired furiously roared, kicking the injured pirate away. Chopper, however, didn't give up, far from it. Transforming into jumping point before his rumble ball's effect wore off, he leapt into the air. Sore loser. Gedatsu snarled, thinking lowly of his opponent. Even the air is my realm. Do you still not get it? Come, and he came, chasing after the reindeer. His flight wasn't as direct as he pleased, though. Thanks to the missing shoe, the priest lost control and sent himself flying into a swamp, resulting in only his legs sticking out of the swamp clouds. Damn it, losing to a tanuki like that, he thought, cursing the doctor. I'm stuck in a swamp, I got careless, I need to escape. Escape Milky Dial. The idiot called. It didn't take long for him to escape the swamp, but in the wrong direction. How careless of me. Koza's uncle Guro would soon meet his new business partner, a tall, odd-haired, winged moron who easily forgets his body's most vital functions. But what fun would it be, digging holes for a hot spring without a guy who can easily tame animals to do the job for the two of them. Yeah, the happy blue-nosed cheered in honor of his victory, though it was technically Gedatsu who defeated Gedatsu. I'm reliable now, I beat him, a priest. With that, he walked off, wanting to see his friends, and having enough of swamp. Straight south, they said. Hopefully, no one attacks me again. 5 minutes earlier, a lot closer to where she wanted to go, Robin found ruins with a good amount of historical relics and information. A memorial for the very city itself. What does it say? Luffy asked, one of the only times he was interested in history. It says descendants built this after the city fell. Shandora, that was the ancient city's name. She answered, stepping closer to the stone, touching it. 402 SE. The city flourished over 1100 years ago, And it was 800 years ago when it fell. That matches the void century that's missing throughout the world. So, this island might know about the true history. Scratching his head, the black-haired also approached the moss-covered ancient stone. Aren't you looking for the true history? Yes, I do. The raven-haired replied, looking at her captain. Finding out about the true history and void century is my life's greatest goal. I will do everything to find out about them. Perhaps we can go to Shandora, where there are probably many clues about the true history. The 17-year-old agreed and turned right, but a snapping sound from behind prompted the two to turn around. Who's there? Out of the shadows, a large and incredibly fat man with big lips and white clothing stepped forward, revealing himself. Why hello there, cutie pie and hat boy, he said, his chin not even moving from all the fat. Hearing the cutie pie part, the pirate duo cringed, feeling a little disgusted. Are you another one of God's henchmen? This question made the massive figure angry. Henchman, watch your mouth, the man ranted, feeling insulted by having been put lower. I am Yama, divine commander of God Enel. So, the straw hat demanded, a bored expression on his face, not impressed at all. What brings you here? But Yama didn't answer that question. Enough talk, me, the divine commander screamed, punching his arms in the air. Using observation hockey, the rubber man predicted Enel's commander's attacks, and he didn't like the way that winged bunch of fat would attack. Robin, he's going to aim for the ruins, and knowing how much you value history, I think you'd want to take him out. Dragon's son told, angering the Oharan on the inside. But before, we should get out of here so the battle won't harm the ruins in any way. The tanned woman spoke, upset and furious about Yama's willingness to destroy culture. No, if you run away from here, he'll chase you and destroy everything in his path, and more of the ruins would go to waste. Take him out here if you want to save that historical stuff, just like you killed that goat soldier not long ago. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath of the refreshing, historical air. I will not let you swine destroy this ancient piece of culture, the archaeologist called, facing Commander Yama. Very well. He grinned, then his expression changed into that of a wild, destructive beast, Punch Mountain. Having her eyes closed, the ex-scholar carefully calculated the barbarian's landing spot and how many arms she'd need to break his limbs. Dose fleur, clutch. A disgusting cracking sound echoed in the air. 2 arms for each leg, 2 arms for each arm, and 4 for the entire neck. The tall and slender woman was usually calm, but if anyone dared to destroy what she stood for, she was absolutely merciless and gratefully willing to kill. Even Garp's grandson, who'd seen and did some brutal shit in his former life, was shocked at the outcome's way. Hooah! He let out, holding his stomach, trying not to throw up. Did you have to kill him that way? I'm kinda feeling bad for the guy. There is no excuse for what he wanted to do, at least not for me. The blue-eyed quietly hissed, putting her book back in her bag. Shall we continue to Shandora now, Captain San?
Yeah, right away. The 160 million berry man replied, absent-mindedly rolling his eyes and walking southwards. He hoped to see his nakama soon again.
Present timeline. What do you mean, you're leaving? Nami snapped at the Sky Knight in disbelief, both scared and angry. The Sky Knight had just told her he must leave, in order to check up on Enel's doings and his former subordinates, the Divine Squad. Sorry about that again, but it is necessary for me. You can keep the impact gauntlet to stay safe, girl.
In the next moment, the old man sat onto Pierre and flew away with him, leaving a disappointed girl on the going merry behind. Eventually, she gave up on him coming back, so the navigator went to temporarily treat the injured. For now, I need to give these guys first aid. You're both alive, right? Hurry up, Chopper. Suddenly, a loud bang occurred down the milky road, the sound frightening her greatly. What?
Though, mere seconds later it only turned out to be another milky road, and not an explosion. On that milky road, there was a larger waver with 3 people inside, coming her way. The most interesting, or rather remarkable, thing about it was the stupidly loud horn. Hesso, Nami-san, Konis called from that waver in a cheerful tone, waving her hand.
Konis, what are you doing here? Nami shouted in a surprised, yet not unfriendly manner. Hesso, Pagaya also called, cheerfully like his daughter.
Mister, you too? 5 seconds passed in silence, and then the ginger finally yelled out her complaint. Would you shut that horn already? Pagaya complied and shut the loud horn, not that it mattered him. And simultaneously, the bearded man also held back Isa, who wanted to exit the waver.
Let go. No, I can't let you go. Let go. If we go any further, we won't be able to leave alive. Didn't we agree on returning after that?
Let go. Confused by that petty argument, the orange-haired sweat dropped, then realizing she'd never seen that girl before. Who is she?
This is Isa. The middle-aged man answered, friendly like always. We have picked her up not long ago. Stay away, Blue CS. I am a warrior of Shandora, the Shandian child yelled at the 18-year-old, who wasn't exactly impressed. So, you wanna fight me? Don't make me impact you. Meanwhile, Kanas had discovered the heavily injured Usopp, and reacted like any caring girl would, terrified. How terrible. They're both charred black. They need first aid, quick. In any case, I'm sorry. Kanas's father apologized, a worried expression on his face. Set sail along the new path we came on. We used a milky dial to create a new river. This one should directly lead you to the White Sea.
Then couldn't you have come more quietly? The 18-year-old questioned.
Oh, yes. I also have something for you, he added, clapping his hands together.
For me? The money lover repeated, surprised about a gift. The Skypian reached for something in the large waver and pulled it out, a smaller waver. This one's yours, the waver you brought from the Blue Sea. Happy about her waver, the Kokoyashi villager danced in excitement. Wow, really? Thank you.
So, are you going to the White Sea now? The winged man inquired, not wanting anything bad happening to them all.
And no, I can't. I promised to meet up with my friends at the eastern coast, and I need to get there. But with the 4 of them combined, it shouldn't take much. Nami answered, confident about her nakama's strength. Isa overheard this, and proceeded to correct the female pirate, albeit in a sadder manner. There is no group of 4, only 2 at most. I'm saying it because I know it, she told, sitting on the ground. This caught the navigator's attention. You're using haki, or what you call mantra up here, just like God and the priests, but how? I was born to use it, the girl revealed, tears in her brown eyes. That's why I'm afraid, you have no idea how scary it is hearing voices disappear. The ginger approached the haki-using child, and leaned over to her. Are you going to cry again? I am not crying, you stupid Blue Sea person. The Shandian almost screamed, wiping her eyes.
Her waver broke down and we found her, just as a sky shark was about to attack. Kanas informed the 18-year-old, empathizing with the child.
What were you planning to do? The orange-haired questioned the little girl, thinking what she did before was reckless. I don't know, she confessed, secretly admitting she was reckless. But I can't just sit around, doing nothing. Knowing that feeling too well, the money-loving girl decided to accept that answer. Sometime later, after continuously walking through Upper Yard, Shandora was visited at last by the archaeologist and captain. This should be the entrance of the inner city, Robin said, pointing at a large black tunnel, but it doesn't match up with the map on the monument at all. Maybe because the city got shaken up by the knock-up stream, and some parts of it crumbled over time. Luffy suggested, starting to walk through the tunnel. You coming? I am, do not hurry please, Captain San. The raven-haired spoke, following the black-haired.
1 minute later, the 2 stepped out of it, viewing the once great city of Shandora, and an abnormally massive beanstalk going through the center of it. Giant Jack was so large, it towered over all of Upper Yard and could be compared with the Red Line, although it's still much smaller. Quietly, the 79 million berry woman got near a poneglyph-shaped rock, writing down what's standing on there in her book, while the 160 million berry man was wandering around, preferably towards a temple.
This is the city of gold? She asked out loudly. The size and topography are all different, but the weirdest thing is. Suddenly, she came to a realization and started running up the stairs of the temple the 17-year-old was walking to. Could it be? Noticing his nakama in such a hurry, the Straw Hat started running too, in hope of catching up with her. Wait, Robin, where are you going that fast? Upon arriving at the top of the stairs, the rubber man entered the temple and looked around, but he couldn't find the 28-year-old. Then, after hearing some scratch noises from below, he looked down, and saw a square-shaped hole within a thick layer of island clouds. The pirate captain jumped down, landing on other island clouds. After the soft landing, he saw the tall woman beholding ancient Shandian architecture before she ran away again. Robin, wait! The future pirate king called, but the tanned woman didn't listen, and kept running. What is she thinking? Dragon's son kept following, running and running. He almost lost her twice, but in the end, the boy found her, standing at the end of a passage, staring at ruins. Approaching her, the young pirate was a little mad. Robin, what the heck? Why weren't you listening and kept running away? To his surprise, the calm ex-scholar held up her left hand in front of his mouth, basically telling her captain to shut up. But he understood, she wanted him to look at what she saw. And it was worth it. Those ruins looked majestic, gray and green, but it was not the color, it was the architecture, the buildings. This is, Shandora? The most wanted man's son asked, staring wide-eyed at the most beautiful city located in the first half of the Grand Line. The Oharan nodded, smiling. Following that, the blue-eyed started walking down the stairs, but with a little difference. Her head was turned at Garp's grandson, still turned that way with each step, who understood the only possible meaning in this situation. I know what you're saying with that. Let's go together, I like that. With that, the D-carrier sped downwards, going together with the Buster Call survivor. 3 minutes had passed, and the pirate duo looked at most of the things down the square. Robin once again abruptly stopped and ran into a different direction when she saw something vastly important. Again, where are you heading now? Luffy complained, running after the archaeologist. Having arrived at her destination, the raven-haired stopped in front of a poneglyph, her mouth agape. They wrote with the ancient poneglyph symbols so easily, the 79 million berry woman remarked, very much amazed by the fact. Only the ones who made the poneglyphs could use these symbols. Just then, the black-haired arrived too, standing beside 28-year-old. Oh, it's one of these things again. The 17-year-old mumbled, his nakama glancing at him in a warning manner, slightly angered for calling this poneglyph a thing. Anyways, Robin, what does it say? Hold our true motives in your heart and not speak of it. We are the ones who weave history. With the sounding of the grand belfry, she translated for him, then coming to a conclusion. That's right, Nolan's logbook did mention a golden bell here. Moments later, the tanned woman started walking again, telling her captain to come with him. The city's history was eradicated. There's no question about it. The city fought against hostility. Shandora, the city of gold, fought and fell, trying to protect that poneglyph. Wow. The tall boy spoke out, seriously impressed. That's a genius conclusion. I love how you're so intelligent. Silent but still thankful about the compliment, the ex-scholar continued. In which case, the grand belfry located in the center of the four altars might contain the true history, the Rio poneglyph. And, let me guess, you want to look for it? You know me, Captain San, that's an of course. Great. The Straw Hat said, nodding in agreement. I want to look for it too, but more because of the golden bell, Yash. With that, the dangerous pair of paramecia users went off, determined and a clear goal in their heads. Somewhere else, not far away, Chopper realized he must climb up the giant green beanstalk to continue, which upset him greatly, but he did it anyway. Covered in dirty sweat, and mostly recovered from the battle with Gedatsu, the small hybrid climbed out of an island cloud, liking their fluffiness. Once he stepped on stone ground again, the reindeer-human hybrid slipped and almost tripped. What's that? Why is the ground crooked? He wondered at first, but decided to let it go immediately. I'll just go around then. For the next 9 seconds Ed happily on even ground, singing about how he'll be the first to get the gold. Suddenly, smoke surrounded the reindeer, animal growls sounding from behind. Wait, Holy, a deep, manly voice commanded, silencing the growls. Holy, wait. When the growls completely stopped, the brown-furred nervously turned around, eyeing a very large white cream-furred dog with sharp fangs lying in front of him. H-I-Y-A-H, the 15-year-old shrieked, eyes bulged out and half flying off. I got too carried away. I should have just gone back. I'm gonna get killed, the doctor thought while screaming.
You're the third one to come here, the priest calmly spoke, his voice alone telling he's powerful.
Who are you? The spider head was too careless. The bald man with black sunglasses muttered. You killed Gedatsu, didn't you? He means that guy from earlier, the zone thought, remembering the goofy idiot. He gulped, thinking that man in front of him will avenge his comrade. No, it's all right. Being rid of a fool like him is best for the world. He told the zone user, slightly laid back, don't you agree? Hylaluk's adoptive son slowly stepped back, shuddering. After his 5th step, the pirate tripped over something, and the moment he found out over what he tripped, the naive coward freaked out. A bloodied corpse. Ooh, Chopper screamed again, looking at the dog. Don't be so afraid, that's my pet dog, Holy. He won't bite. The beercon reassured, not meant as a reassurement. But this guy is lying here, all torn up. Holy is well trained, so he won't bite anyone recklessly. I cut that man up. That's even scarier, the reindeer yelled, wide-eyed and with sharp teeth. Who are you? My name is Ohm. Just be silent, Ohm shouted, tears suddenly running from his eyes. I am saddened by the frailty of man. A confused reindeer-human hybrid let out. Why do people fight and rot, despite knowing the transience of life? The winged man wept, even further confusing the blue-nosed. What, now? They're born to be happy, and they desire happiness in life, only to die in battle. In which case, it would have been the best to do nothing from the start. Enel's strongest priest ranted in tears, sniffing. Such is the dilemma of man's nature, it's so sad. But there is one path to salvation. He continued, his tears stopping, visibly confused. A question mark appeared on top of the light brown furred's head. Everyone just needs to die. What scary stuff is this guy saying? The hybrid exclaimed in disbelief, his mouth wide open, unbelievable. Shadows appeared on Ohm's face. He was going serious, and wasn't going to fool around anymore. What have you come here for? Oh, I'm just looking for gold, greed begets strife. Allow me to save you. The priest offered, bearing a dark expression. You'll save me? The 15-year-old pirate questioned, not knowing how to understand that. Standing up and unsheathing his sword, the bald priest stood tall. Once dead, you'll do and desire nothing. The doctor's face completely went blank, he himself so scared, his body stiffened. He doesn't plan to save me at all. One step forward made by Ohm was enough for Hylaluk's adoptive son to change to walk point and start running away, wildly screaming. Chopper ran, far away, and once he thought he was safe, he hid behind a wall, panting from all the fast running. Pant, wheeze, he's not following me, phew. Pant, wheeze, this guy must be a priest too. He's so scary, I just need to escape and meet up with Luffy and the others.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the plateau, which was Ohm's territory, said priest was preparing an attack. He's run quite a long way. How foolish, running from salvation. That itself is an attachment to life, and an earthly desire, the man with sunglasses grumbled, holding his sword. However,
he then sent a long, wavy stream of sharp iron directed towards the reindeer, precisely calculated by mantra. The hybrid didn't even see it coming, and it sliced his back, only leaving him the option of crying in pain. Gah! The blue-nosed weakly let out, falling over unconscious. There are no means to survive on the sad path to attaining peace. This is the iron ordeal with a survival rate of 0%.
Although the skilled doctor didn't die, his voice disappeared, much to the shock of someone else.
Another voice disappeared. Isa exclaimed, tears building up in her eyes. Isa? Nami asked, wondering what happened. That girl was a mystery to her. I can't just sit here, I'm going to find Lackey, the child declared, jumping into the white sea. Hold it, the navigator ordered, pissed off that she had to go after her. The ginger took her shirt off and jumped. Uck. Catching up with the Shandian, the orange-haired kept hold of her, sternly refusing the winged girl to go. Stop it. What's your problem? Let go of me. Let go, the mantra user screamed, struggling within the 18-year-old's grip. This is none of your business. Maybe not, but I can't just let a kid like you die, the money lover scolded, not letting the kid go. I'm a warrior. Yes, kid warrior. Your glares don't scare me. Are you alright? Pagaya worriedly asked back from Mary. Just fine. The Kokoyashi villager replied, turning her head back to a brown-eyed girl. Here, there's no use of struggling. Get on. No, I'm gonna save everyone. Let go, Isa still yelled, refusing to get on the waiver. Knock it off or I'll slug you, Nami warned, a strict look on her face. The girl in front of her was about to cry. And no crying. Even 2 of our crew have been done in. I can't leave you alone. That was one of her big sister moments. Knowing the dangers of this forest, and being good with children, the navigator just had to take care of the Shandian. Once the winged girl stopped struggling, she loosened her grip. Now hurry and get on. Giving in, the winged kid complied and got onto the waiver. When she lifted her head, her face went blank. The ginger did the same, and her reaction wasn't much different. A huge blue snake emerged from the water, and it looked like the beast focused on the 2 females standing on their waiver. Slowly, the master of the sky made her way to the waiver, its passengers screaming out in fear. Before Nola could swallow the waiver in whole, the orange-haired acted and rode it into the forest to escape. Konus and Pagaya on the ship didn't know what to do. But Nami-san, that's the forest, what do we do? They went into the forest. Nearby, a Shandian warrior and a divine soldier were mercilessly clashing. Unexpectedly, the 2 heard screaming sounds and breaking sounds from behind. What's that? The goat-like man demanded, staring at the direction of where the sounds are coming from, just like his enemy. 4 seconds later, a waiver came flying towards them, tailed by a massive light blue python. It's the master of the sky, the divine soldier shouted, his life threatened. Was that, Isa? The tribal warrior let out, wondering what a child of his tribe was doing here. 2 seconds later, they both were eaten by the snake, while Isa and Nami managed to escape. Once the girls were far enough away from Upper Yard's monster, they stopped on a remote milky road, and were frightened about their current situation. We're in the forest. ULITLLE. Zoro roared, falling from the sky. Long story short, after defeating Bram, he got lost again, and encountered a giant south bird while eating his bento. The south bird wanted to have some of that bento, and because he didn't get any, he followed the green-haired around. When the bird realized the swordsman got lost again, he laughed at the former, earning the former's wrath. The mosshead threw his brown bag at the south bird's face, who thought there was food inside. Realizing his great mistake, the moss-haired clinged onto the bag, bugged the giant birdie. Time later, after the master of the sky Nola attempted to eat the south bird, causing him to drop the Shimotsuki villager in order to escape himself. Due to earlier happenings, the venomous reptile showed no interest in eating the 19-year-old. There he was, the 60 million berry man Roronoa Zoro, falling onto a heap of rubble. His forced landing swirled up loads of dust. Damn, that bird's gonna pay, he spat, emerging from the rubble. One of the Blue Sea people, Wiper, who was standing only 6 meters away from the former bounty hunter, remarked, ready to fight. It's you, Gon Fall observed in surprise, standing further away. Nola appeared too, but wasn't attacking anyone currently. What is this place? Zoro demanded, calming down from the fall. Ruins. After taking a closer look around, the green-haired focused on Ohm, who was new to him. Oi, hand over the gold. How sad, considering no one will survive my iron ordeal. If you're going to get in my way, I'll eliminate you all, Wiper bellowed, raising his bazooka. Tell me where Enel and the Divine Squad are. The priest shrugged, not caring about his enemy's words. Well, I'm sure you gentlemen have all sorts of things to say, but if you want to make yourselves heard, he spoke, unsheathing his sword, you'll need to survive here first.
Hearing that challenge, everyone got in their own battle stance. It was a death battle, and they knew it all.
Let's go, Holy, the Beercon shouted, jumping atop his pet dog. You can get as wild as you want. Gonfall did the same, getting onto his pet for battle. This is our target, Pierre. We have to stop Enel's priests first. While those two clashed, the straw-hat swordsman was glaring at a certain Shandian in an intimidating manner. My captain says it's bad to interfere in another's fight. What do you say, shall I take you out first? If you are so keen on dying, the warrior spoke with shadowed eyes, you can. A straight blue pillar of fire shot out of the savage man's burned bazooka, destroying everything in its path. The mosshead, obviously faster than a bazooka, jumped up high and escaped.
That's a pesky weapon you got there, the moss-haired taunted, drawing his second sword. You blue sea people know nothing. There's nothing here for you, who just came to the sky, the dark-skinned gorilla barked, furious at the pirate. I'm not about to figure out any of your problems, the 60 million berry man stated, about to attack. The situation in the sky is not our concern.
That figures, the tattooed Shandian roared, charging at his opponent. Wiper blocked one sword with his Kairoseki skaters, and dogged the other one. I was going to eliminate you from the start, die. He shot at the Shimotsuki villager again, who dogged it and wasted no time in retaliating. The Shandian attempted to block the 19-year-old slash, but that was a deceptive move. The tribal warrior barely dodged his real attack. Suddenly, Nola decided to join the battle, against Wiper. She lunged forward with great speed, destroying some of the buildings. That damn snake. I'm going to kill it. Meanwhile, Zoro, forced to move due to the light blue python's attack, heard growls behind him. Turning around, the green-haired noted a big cream-furred dog with a bald priest on top. This one's got fangs. Holy swung at the swordsman with his paw, the latter dodging in surprise. What's with this dog's moves?
His name is Holy, the winged man explained. I'm warning you, I'm a stock breeder in the sky, in other words, a sky breeder. My animal training goes beyond ordinary training. I've hammered bipedal walking and then even boxing into Holy. Savor his attack thoroughly. The white dog made some moves with his fists, reminding the moss-haired of boxing and several martial arts moves. None of them actually impressed him. There's such a thing as going too far. At rapid speeds, the Sky Knight on Pierre came flying towards the Beercon wearing sunglasses, who blocked the old man's spear at the last second. Gone fall, he snarled in distaste. You were defeated by someone like Shura. Haven't you learned your lesson? You probably can't even wield your spear any longer, can you? You old fool. Yet I can't withdraw, the white-haired firmly stated, lacking any fear. Because I don't know what you and the others are going to do. HMPH. Don't be conceited. Even if you knew, someone like you wouldn't be able to understand God's noble thoughts, Ohm exclaimed in rage, heavily annoyed by Skypia's former god. Not that far away, the moss-haired turned around, his view changing. At first glance, nothing seemed special, but having a closer look, the first mate noticed Chopper small in his view, far away and with grave injuries. His eyes flickering, the vice captain ran to aid his nakama. Oi, Chopper. During the mosshead's run, barbed wire shot out of a hole in a building next to him. It would have certainly sliced the skin of anyone with either low or no observation haki. Training his haki did benefit the 60 million berry man, allowing him to detect danger without closing his eyes. Despite this all, the Shimotsuki villager barely managed to dodge. Chopper, hey, Chopper, the 19-year-old called, holding the reindeer in his arms. Say something, why did you come to a place like this alone? Hey. Such a shame, the priest quietly and calmly spat, disrespect in his voice. Enraged, Zoro his upper body around a little. They're iron clouds, they are light as clouds, and hard as iron. They're blown into this shape by a milky dial. Each one is connected to some part of the ground. When you step on it, it gets discharged. On this field, you will never know when and where they'll be activating to strike you. That animal was partially defeated by me, but he also became a victim of the ordeal on his own. Calmly, the green-haired laid his injured friend down, shadows in his eyes. So, do you want to get revenge now or something? The winged man asked, sitting on his obedient pet. No, the blue sea swordsman answered in a calm tone, standing up and facing his enemy. I don't like to fight for this sort of reason. Oh, isn't that something? Enel's first priest mocked the pirate, putting his sunglasses back to their spot. But the mosshead continued, standing determined and fearless. Huh? I'm getting a little fired up. Grinning,
The beer con lifted his sunglasses again. Fine then, holy. Barking, the giant dog punched forward, almost hitting the moss-haired. While the Shimotsuki villager landed on his feet in a fighting stance, Ohm whipped with his sword, greatly lengthening the blade. Foreseeing his enemy's attack, the first mate parried it, although surprised by the shape of it, and not that easily. What kind of sword is this? The 60 million berry man questioned, acknowledging the strength of it. HMPF. This sword is also made of iron clouds. The bald man explained, displaying his weapon. Iron clouds are added to the blade by a dial built in the haft, so it chases the enemy to the end of the world. He shot out another whipping attack, forcing the Straw Hat vice captain to defend himself. Were you able to understand that, Blue Sea swordsman? It's like a whip, yeah, I get it. The White Sea has a bunch of circus warriors. Zoro taunted, handling the situation coolly. Suddenly, the mantra-using priest detected presences climbing up Giant Jack. He knew what that meant, a larger battle. Holy, he muttered, getting off him. Let's fight separately, it seems that it'll get a little busy here on Upper Ruins. 2 seconds later, a good amount of divine soldiers, and 3 Shandians came out of the clouds, landing on the plateau with their dial skaters. Me, Om-sama, we will assist you, Wiper, we'll help you reach Enel. 15 seconds later, 2 more entered the plateau after climbing up Giant Jack. 2 girls on a waver, 2 screaming girls. Followed by some divine soldiers intending to kill them. Ah, hold it. Stop pesterinance and voice, Zoro, Gonfall, and Wiper recognized at least one of the females. Being shocked of their appearance up there was an understatement. Nami, Isa, young lady, kill them, one of the goat-like soldiers following them shouted, the trio about to hit them with their impact dials. However, none of them were ready for an assault of 3 worried men each stronger than all of them combined. The threat those divine soldiers posed towards the young girls was eliminated in no time, allowing the duo to safely park their waver. Isa, what are you doing here? Nami, why are you here? Ah, Zoro. Where's everyone? Wiper. But Wiper was angry, not happy to see his fellow Shandian. What are you plotting, Blue Sea person? He snapped at Nami in animosity, loading and raising his bazooka. Isa, step away from there. Luckily, before the pillar of fire could hit those two, the Sky Knight acted fast, picking them up with Pierre and flying away. Phew, that was close. Demon. You're a demon, Wiper. Why did you two come to a place like this? The old man questioned in a scolding tone. He was right, that place was dangerous for those two. Why? Because of a huge, the navigator wanted to answer, but was interrupted by the sight of the exact thing she and Isa were fleeing from, snake. Pierre had flown too close to the giant snake's snout, allowing her to eat and swallow them. Both the ex-bounty hunter and war demon were equally shocked from this sight. Ah, that idiot, Isa. While they watched Nola licking her lips in disgust, Ohm and Holy both attacked silently, landing hits on their opponents. Wiper was directly hit by Holy, on the shoulder head part, without an escape, and Zoro in the side. Despite deflecting most of the attack thanks to his prediction, the sheer speed alone let the green-haired get hit by the beercon. Both fell on the stone-hard ground. You're both idiots who can't even protect yourselves. Quit worrying about others. Ohm called, sheathing his sword, confident in victory. At any rate, no one will survive. Overconfidently, the soldiers dressed in white started praising their superior. Me. That's our Ohm-sama. The survivors on the upper ruins are 4 divine soldiers, 4 Shandians, and 1 Blue Sea person. Including the animals, there is 1 snake, and Holy. In total, 10 people, 2 animals. The winged man informed in a calm manner. Now, let's continue the battle, shall we? I'll finish you off. You bastard, a Shandian warrior snarled, readying his bow and arrow. How dare you harm Wiper? Oh, even when he's a speck in God's eyes, you still care for that man? Wiper is our leader, the tribal warrior shouted, defending his leader's pride. We've shared the Shandian's pride, another one called. In order to take back our homeland that was taken from us, the third one declared, pointing his spear at Enel's priest.
Enel's servant can't understand the bond between us Shandians, the bow and arrow warrior exclaimed in pride, glaring murderously at the winged and bald man.
Well, even if I understood it, I wouldn't feel any sympathy or empathy, Ohm announced, infuriating the gorillas with his next words. It's all for naught. Die, Ohm! The Shandian yelled in utter rage, firing his explosive arrow. It missed, and things far behind Ohm exploded, not that the calm priest minded that anyway. It's the climax. Holy, it's time for that. The beercon ordered, his well-trained pet knowing exactly what to do. Holy dashed, and jumped, near the one Shandian, sending him flying to the ground with a punch. Unluckily for that Shandian, he landed on a discharger for the barbed wire. The iron-hard clouds impaled him, and screams filled the air in his area on a large scale. The fallen warrior's fellow Shandians were disturbed by that violent death, but the bald priest wasn't finished at all. Holy. Complying, the cream-furred dog dashed around in a circle, letting barbed wire sprout out from the ground. The other two tribal warriors didn't know what exactly that was, but they predicted it'd be trouble. This turned out to be true, as confirmed by a divine soldier. This surely is the Iron Ordeal's true form, the white barbed deathmatch. At the same time, the first mate and leader of the Shandian guerrillas stood up, having been lying on the ground for longer than enough. "Fence or no fence, I ain't running away," the green-haired declared, standing there without sweating out of fear. "Me? You fool, it's not just so you can't run away anymore," a goat-like soldier informed. "You're surrounded by barbed wire." "So what?" In other words, Wiper spoke, kicking that divine soldier into the barbed wire, taking him out. "If you touch it, you'll get hurt." "So where do I get out when I'm finished with all?" the swordsman asked in annoyance, pointing out the wire cage's flaw. Correcting his black sunglasses for the third time, Ohm gave a simple answer. "You can think about that when you're done. 8 more people and 2 animals left." Suddenly, a black-haired woman on a dial-powered board flew through the clouds, landing on the death match's plateau 20 meters next to it. She was in a hurry, and had a worried face. "Wiper, listen to me." Hearing this voice so close to a dangerous battlefield, the warmonger felt worried, even if he didn't want to display or voice it. "Why did you come here?" "I came to submit Kamakiri's message to you. Don't fight." "Wiper, get out of here," Lackey almost screamed, running towards the cage. After ceasing the running, the female warrior was breathing hard. "Enel is in the forest." "Oi, Lackey," Wiper loudly exclaimed, dropping his large weapon and running in her direction. "Enel is lighting itself, the very thing people feared as gods centuries ago." "Don't come near here," the tattooed gorilla shouted, clenching onto the barbed wire able to cut deep into his skin. "Get out of here. There's no way we can defeat him. Hey, stop it." Silence befell both of them as single lightnings appeared behind Lackey, their terrifying sounds ringing in their ears. Expecting the worst, the female warrior slowly turned around. And there he was, God Enel, worst enemy of the Shandians. Standing almost 3 heads taller than her, and more muscular than anyone she'd seen before. He was a terrible sight, mostly because of his power. "You have called me?" "Enel," she gasped out wide-eyed. Seeing his childhood friend so scared, and in such danger, Wiper was about to lose his mind. "Stop it, Enel. Don't," she abandoned the battle. "Hey." Lackey raised her rifle, placing it on the logia's chest. "Lackey, don't fight him," the proud Shandian desperately ordered, yelling in fear of losing her. "Lackey, run." Sadly, the woman didn't listen, and shot. 2 times, 2 holes. Nothing for the lighting man, who was far from impressed or dead. That was such an insolent and suicidal act. No one dared to say a word, save for one foolish divine soldier. "You fool," he sneered at the gorilla, who heard everything but did nothing. "Don't think you can survive while worrying about others." That man then jumped from his position, and landed behind his enemy shortly after. "I got you, Wiper," he shouted in victory, hitting the bazooka wielder with his axe style. Despite his external and internal injuries, the strong warrior ignored the pain, and continued worrying about his dearest, who clearly was in much greater danger than he himself. "You fool." Memories of her finding heavily wounded Kamakiri, and Kamakiri's words about Enel went through Lackey's mind. She certainly was aware of her life in danger, and was scared about that, yet more about someone else's life. Slowly turning her head back, the black-haired woman looked deep into her friend's eyes. "Get out of here." The next second, her body was electrocuted, mercilessly. So bad, even the metallic gun she was holding turned black. For Wiper, this was the worst thing that could have happened. Enel. Yahahaha. Yahahahaha. War, who attacked the war demon from behind, let out, surprised his usually deadly dial didn't work. It didn't work on him. Then, I'll give it another shot. Without even looking, the fuming Shandian grabbed his head from behind, and slammed it onto the barbed wire with full force, taking out the goat-like man forever. "You're softer than I thought, Shandian warrior Wiper." The tall and pale man mocked his darker-skinned enemy, grinning evilly. "Even if she is a woman, she still is a warrior. I treat all those who challenge me equally. Well, try your best not to die." With that, the tyrant vanished in lightning, his laugh echoing in the sky. The gorilla had a long way of calming down ahead of him. "Well, she deserved that." Ohm spat, intending to pour salt into the tattooed man's wound. Insolently attacking God like that, she received divine punishment. Almost unable to control himself, Wiper joined back into the fight, going for the giant snake first. The mosshead did too, but preferred to stay away from the raging Shandian. Men get stronger and fight harder when they're angry, and a manly man like him knew that. During their way to Nola, they were interrupted by Holy, Ohm and a divine soldier, the last one taken out by the Shandian leader. 6 people and 2 animals left. Meanwhile, forced to quit going after the giant python, the moss-haired leaned onto a wall, complaining about the local priest in this difficult situation. "Man, that priest's extendable sword is a real pain, forcing me to abandon that stupid snake like that." I had to get Nami, the Sky Knight and that girl out right away. Well, they were swallowed and whole, so they didn't die immediately. Leaning over, he saw the master of the sky fighting hard with Wiper and his burned bazooka. But it's just a matter of time before they do. Ice and whip. Suddenly, from far away, another blow of sharp whipped iron cloud came, almost scratching the first mate. Once again, his trained observation haki saved him. Alright, I've let that guy waiting enough. I should make my way for him right now. Concentrating his haki on only one person, the vice captain made his way for him. This time, unlike most other times, the Shimotsuki villager didn't get lost, thanks to his haki guiding him. On the other side, Ohm was awaiting him. 4 people and 2 animals left. He muttered, after having slain a Shandian, and having sensed a divine soldier cut up by his foe. 2 minutes later, the 60 million berry man finally arrived, directly lunging at his opponent the second he saw him. Nightoryu, Takanami. Ice and back. A solid wall of iron cloud formed by iron clouds extending from the beer Khan's sword ice and whip. Zoro managed to cut a piece of it, but not all, as the wall was very stable. This sword is made out of iron cloud. The bald-winged man stated, confident in his abilities. You think clouds have a set shape, ice and fan? Ice and fork? Ice and floret? For the green-haired, the problem wasn't that he couldn't dodge them, since he could. The problem was that each of those extending attacks kept him at distance, not allowing him to get close to Enel's loyal priest. What's the matter? Ohm sneered with a mocking voice. You depend on your swords, so keeping distance does you no good. He was partly right, that's what the swordsman knew. But also partly wrong, which the moss-haired had to prove him. Not quite, Itoryu. Sanjiraku pound ho. Ice and whip. To counter the blue sea swordsman's technique, the mantra user used his primary technique again. It took long for the flying slash to be repelled, but eventually, it was. Technically, the single flying slash was stronger, but the iron whip was supported by pressure from behind and more iron. Therefore, the mosshead had to roll, to successfully dodge his own and his enemy's attack. I am impressed, the 60 million berry man admitted, smirking. You've held your own against me with your sword and made me bleed, even without being a real swordsman. But, just like every other time, I'll have to finish what I started, and move on for my friends. Thanks though, for everything I've learned fighting you. Have a close look at this. Santoryu. Hyakuhachi pound ho. Not just 1 flying slash spiraled towards the beer Khan wearing sunglasses, but 3, looking like 108. Ohm knew, that technique was too strong for him. Still, he held up his iron cloud sword to minimize damage, as it would help him much. Once it hit, blood sprayed out of his deep wounds, and screams of pain and agony escaped his throat. Ohm was down, making it 1 less fighter in the deathmatch and the last priest to fall. In victory, but without gloating, the tanned muscular man put his swords back in his sheath, and rapidly jumped away when he realized the white dog came back from beating down a Shandian to avenge his master. Wait. To his surprise, Holy complied, and sat down to await orders. Huh? So this dog listens to everyone? The 19-year-old exclaimed in disbelief, pointing his hand at the 2 obedient dog, with sharp teeth. Holy was just sitting there, shaking his tail, awaiting orders. Knock yourself unconscious. The vice captain sighed out in annoyance. And when the dog actually knocked himself unconscious, he was dumbfounded again. He actually did it. Ah, anyways. Zoro said, shrugging it all off. Now I need to take care of that damn snake and this bazooka guy. With that, he ran off, not going to get lost again, since nobody could miss Nola. Nobody, not even Zoro or Kenpachi. Near the giant jack, Luffy was still following Robin, who was searching for the belfry. Funny, isn't it? I know the bell's exact location from my memories, yet don't tell her. Although she couldn't reach it anyway, considering it's really high up. The golden bell that must have been in the center of the city isn't here any longer, and it might have had poneglyphs engraved in it. The archaeologist observed, slightly disappointed the belfry wasn't there, though hope of finding it around this area remained. I know, right? The future pirate king said, casually smiling. Instead of the golden bell, there is this giant plant. Not even God knows where the bell could be. Yes, the part with God not knowing is the joke. In that case, where could it be? The Oharan asked, turning right. Looking down, she noticed something very impressive. Oh, this is a rail for lorries. Noticing that too, the black-haired let out a whistle to display him being impressed. That's impressive. Didn't know they were this advanced over 800 years ago. The Shandorans really were a great tribe. That moment, a new, strong individual joined them there. At least that's what the 17-year-old's haki told him. As those two turned around, Enel bit into his red apple, chewing and swallowing down that portion. Yahahaha, isn't it amazing? Even after being shot up to the sky, this city, Shandora, still majestically exists like this. Dragon's son hated him, that was no secret, even if, just like Crocodile, he wasn't the pirate captain's direct enemy at first. However, there was a big difference between those two. While Sir Crocodile was another cruel pirate with a big plan, Enel was a full psychopath with a god complex. The latter would wipe out continents and complex island networks of sky islands, including their inhabitants, for something absolutely delusional, like going to the moon, or fairy Verth. That's why Garp's grandson hated the lightning logia much more than the sand logia. Even if it's a legendary city, if it's covered by clouds, it can't show off its figure. The light blonde continued. I'm the one who found it. Those stupid former gods didn't even notice its existence. Who are you? The former scholar questioned, speaking calmly, aware of the man's power level. God. The logia user answered, proudly grinning. As a fact, the lightning man loved this question, just so he could boast about his title and show off. The long Earl Obed man took another bite of his apple. You're pretty good. It seems like you're an Archusi. It took even us several months to find these ruins. If you can read the letters on that ruins, you can find this place that easily. The former Birkan spoke, secretly amazed by the tanned tall woman's skill. However, the gold you're looking for isn't here any longer. You're a few years late. How Enel took the gold angered the rubber man. He wasn't really interested in culture and history, but stripping the city of gold was just darn disrespectful and an insult to all Shandorans that died fighting for their city. It seemed to anger the blue-eyed too, but she didn't show it on the outside. Gold? Come to think of it, I couldn't find any. You must be the one who took out from here. Gold is a nice thing. The arrogant god said, inwardly hugging all his gold, making him wealthy. It suits me well, that glittering metal. Then, you took the golden bell that used to be here, too? The raven-haired questioned, finding the thought of it disgusting. Huh? The logia let out. Never heard of that before, his mouth half full with apple, golden bell? Visibly relieved, the Buster Call survivor breathed out air. He doesn't know, that's good, she thought, letting a drop of sweat roll down her face in relief. Good thing he doesn't know. The tall boy wearing his captain's coat thought, his lips forming a tiny smirk. Following that, God ate the rest of his apple in whole. That's interesting. What did you learn by reading the letters? No, if it wasn't here when you first came here, it didn't come to the sky after all. The huge golden bell Shandora took great pride in, and the belfry for the bell. The 79 million berry woman tried to bluff, not going to allow the wingless man to take that great historic relic. Still chewing on red apple, the long Earl Obed man discarded that thought. No, Enel insisted. It's still here, in the sky. When this island was blown into the sky 400 years ago, in other words, on the day God's island, Upper Yard, was born, it said that the loud chimes of a bell rang throughout the entire nation. Although old people in this nation call it the island's singing voice. The former Birkan raised his arms, left and right, sitting in a mighty pose. I see, how wonderful. That bell was made of gold. Soon, the game will be over. 8 more minutes to go. While I'm at it, why don't I look for the golden bell? He won't find it anyway, the 160 million berry man thought, his smirk widening a bit. At the same time, the lightning man detected someone he intended to kill running to the shore of the island. Looks like there's a maggot at the edge of this island. He nonchalantly remarked, standing up. Lightning sprouted out of his body, as he turned to energy. What are you? Robin questioned wide-eyed, expecting something bad. Luffy knew what was going to happen. Enel would use his Elthor technique, and his target would be eliminated. It's selfish for me to do nothing, but I'll have to wait for the finale of this survival game to give Enel what he deserves, so his defeat will have a bigger impact. Just wait, Enel. Even 19 seconds after the attack, the archaeologist was still speechless, actually scared by that man's brutality and terrifying powers. What did you just do? He grinned smugly and viciously. I bestowed mercy. The logia user answered, not feeling any qualms about killing. A pitiful worm was in great pain, so I saved him by releasing him from it. It was my duty as god. Holding his chin, Skypia's current god mused about a few things before speaking again. It seems that the young woman is still behaving desperately, but that's the perfect entertainment for the party. The pale and muscular man's eyes narrowed at the last sentence, and his voice became especially sadistic, making the raven-haired's whole body tremble and sweat. They can all realize what despair is. You really are stupid fake god, the black-haired thought. Now, we are running out of time. Let's settle this, shall we? The tall light blonde began, a ruthless expression on his face. My ultimate plan will start soon, as well, so. Ultimate plan? This time, the former Birkan didn't answer. Come to me, lowly beings. He shouted, not addressing the 17-year-old and the 28-year-old, Shango. Electricity flowing all through his body went up Giant Jack, and destroyed all the upper island clouds, forcing every stone, every body, and everything up there, including Zoro, Wiper, and Nola, to fall down hundreds of meters. What? The green-haired exclaimed, not believing his eyes, everything's falling down. It's Enel, Wiper shouted. He's the only one able to do that. This man's ability, what a terrifying power. The Oharan continued to think, no idea how she could ever stand up to him. YAHJAHJAHJAHJAHJAHJAHJAHJAHJAHJ. Conus was determined. Flashback. The wounded Skypian divine soldier she and her father found near the coast told them about Enel's real plans. His plans of eliminating every person in the sky. She should have known that Enel wouldn't like that. Her father Pagaya barely saved her from their God's judgment, sacrificing himself. Of course, the blonde girl was sad about her father crying and hugging Sue, but she had a mission, warning everyone else about the tyrant's wicked plans. Sue, take care of these two. I gotta tell everyone and save Angel Island citizens. Flashback end having borrowed her father's waiver. The angel-like girl was riding fast towards Angel Island. No longer can I look and stand there, doing nothing. I will save them, for father, for the real God, for peace. Let the finale begin. Enel disappeared, and tons of ruins rained onto Shandora. None of the ruins actually fell on the two, but it all was still more than weird to watch. After everything calmed down, a certain swordsman wearing a dirty, ripped, and bloodied blue tank top pushed a large rock off his back, and stood up, heavily panting. Zoro, swordsman-san, damn it, that hurt, he snapped, cursing the fall and landing. In his hand, the moss-haired held chopper, still injured from all the cuts he received thanks to Om. Oh, it's just you. Where am I? Not liking his first mate ignoring his injuries, the caring captain walked up to his friend and, unexpectedly, scolded him. You, Zoro, don't be so ignorant about your injuries. A normal person would have died. Not that it's bad you're not a normal person, but more of a monster or demon, but look more after yourself in the future. Shut up, the mosshead barked back, annoyed, then shaking his head. It's not even me who's hurt that badly, and who are you calling a demon? Closely beholding the doctor, the Straw Hat's face straightened up, getting more serious. I know. Someone should help Chopper. Good job, Chopper, you fought well. You're becoming more and more reliable day by day. Sorry I couldn't protect you from that psycho. I know about basic medical treatment, Captain San. Please hand Dr. San to me. I can bandage his wounds. The blue-eyed requested, taking her request seriously. Nodding in appreciation, the rubber man handed the hybrid over. Thank you. He spoke, his eyes expressing gratefulness. Following this, the most wanted man's son changed his expression to serious again. Yash. Things will get out of hand soon. Do whatever you want, but stay close to me. The 60 and 79 million berry criminals both understood, and didn't say anything against their captain's words. Their sense of feeling might not be as good as the sense of feeling of him, the future pirate king, but that's all they needed, since anyone could rely on the strong and powerful boy's feeling.
Meanwhile, Wiper and Nola were staring, gaping at the buildings, the ground, the everything. What the Shandian man, and Shandian python saw, was their destination, the majestic home they've been searching for decades, centuries. Shandora. Everything in all would have made a good scenery, if it wasn't for Enel, who was sitting on a newly made spinning cloud ball floating in the sky. Yahahahahahow. 3 more minutes, and the finale will begin.